Hello, fellow homebrewers. JP here, and I want to introduce to you the brand new Brew-Built X1 Conical Series available at More Beer. More Beer sells the highest standard in homebrewing equipment, and the Brew-Built Conicals are just that. They're made from mirror-polished 304 stainless steel, and they come with loads of features that you and I have been looking for. They have a full 2-inch bottom dump valve, which will eliminate your clogging issues, while the sturdy base includes 4 reinforced legs, just like those big Pro tanks do. More Beer also carries the Brew-Built line of options and add-ons like casters, pressure kits, and even external glycol chillers. So you can find out more about the new Brew-Built X1 Conical Unitanks by going over to morebeer.com for detailed videos on the entire line of Brew-Built Conicals. You can trust Brew-Built with your next fermentation, and you can trust More Beer to find the right conical for you. Brew-Built at morebeer.com.
Today's Sunday session is brought to you thanks to the fine folks at More Beer. Visit them right now at morebeer.com.
I want people to believe in me, and I want people to believe in me when they taste my beer. That's what it's about.
You mean you laid underneath it and tried to put his tongue up the bung?
I like to actually scoop up the yeast and look at it.
7 o'clock came real early that next morning.
Oh, yeah, man. Thanks for dumbing that down for us. You did an awesome job.
It's all about food and beer.
Punch me in the junk. Man, that thing was thick.
The point is just beat it like it's your dick.
I like to smell it afterwards.
Are you being sarcastic right now?
Bring your body armor.
I ran in my jungle once on a ball valve in a kettle.
That's a true happy ending.
Now, live from the Brewing Network studios in Northern California, this is the radio program for home brewers, craft brewers, beer lovers, and beer geeks. It's your only source for live beer radio that brings expert brewers together with, well, expert drinkers. This is the radio program with a head on it. This is The Session.
Hey, it's a Monday afternoon, Monday evening, and you're here listening to The Session, and you're listening to me talk to you about what you're doing, and it's hard to get more meta than that. My name is Jason Petros. I'm your host today for The Session, and with me, as becoming a reoccurring theme, is Michael Tasty McDowell.
Two-man show.
Two-man show, baby. That's us. And, yeah, everyone left us again, Tasty.
Yeah, those guys get a lot of vacay. Huh?
Yeah.
I want their pay.
I want their pay too. Well, yeah, that's a lot of things. I'm not happy. I'm not happy today. I'm the unhappy bird. Because Warren didn't tell anybody on the show that he wasn't going to be here. And it doesn't matter.
Let me check the employee manual here. We don't have one.
Yeah. And that is Warren, too, by the way. He probably goes, well, no one ever told me that I have to tell anybody, so I'm not telling it. But we have an internal calendar where you're supposed to say, I'm not going to be here on this day. So the person running the show can then fully understand what they're up against. And ultimately, it doesn't matter. I've had an hour and a half to work through the 7 stages of grief right now.
We're going to miss him sorely.
Yeah.
So it does matter.
It matters. It only really matters because I didn't know about it until now.
It's like anything. You unexpected. You had a certain vision of how things were going to go tonight. Yeah. And if there's a person's not going to be here, that's going to mess it up for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, it's one of those things. And Justin and Warren were hanging out together, and it's like Justin didn't tell me, Warren didn't tell me. Nobody told me.
I have a trace memory of it coming up on some previous podcasts where they said, Beardy said he would be driving up with him, and then I think flying back or something.
Yeah,
but I didn't know when Justin was leaving. So obviously he's gone now. So.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. It's just I'm just annoyed, but it's fine. We have a good show for you guys today.
Yeah, hope you're listening.
I'm sure they're not.
Where are they?
Our good friend from Japan, Ry Beville. I knew I'd screw it up. I wrote it down. I can't read my writing. Ry Beville. Where do my magazines go? Bev, where do my magazines go that were right here for my show materials? Don't start with me today. This is another friggin' thing that I don't need, please. Where'd all my Johns go?
There you are.
Thank you. Ry does the Japan Beer Times, and I believe he also does another magazine called Sake Today.
Yeah, that's right.
Because apparently a lot of Japanese breweries also brew sake.
Yep. Why not?
So we're going to talk to Ry today, but he also brought, I know you guys are thinking, we've talked to Ry all the time. We know all about Japanese craft beer. But he has people from Japan who have started a craft brewery. Gareth Burns from Be Easy Brewing in Japan. Now, I know what you're thinking. Gareth isn't necessarily the most Japanese name you've ever came across in your life.
I think he's English.
I think he's American. I think, maybe. It sounds like in English, yeah. But Gareth is American, but he has brought his brewer, Masahiro, and another gal who does everything, it says, Chika. So they're going to be in the studio. They brought beer for us, Tacey. They brought growlers.
Growlers of beer?
Of their beer, all the way from Japan, plus a bottle of sake. From where Gareth lives.
Nice.
And that's Bev.
I'm like Bev wants to go to sake buzz.
Yeah, either clapping or trying to cut a piece of ham. I don't know what that means. I don't know. But I'm pretty stoked about that. And they also went to a Social Kitchen and got a growler of the Brute IPA.
Brute.
Fantastic thing that everyone's happening. Yeah, I haven't had the granddaddy
Not
of them
that
all.
one. No, I've had others.
Yeah.
We had them on the show, actually.
So anyway, it'll be an interesting show. We're going to talk to Gareth and Masahiro about brewing beer in Japan. And Gareth's story is actually pretty interesting. At first, I was like, okay, I don't know what we're going to talk about. But the kid was in the armed forces in Japan. He apparently became like this master player of some Japanese instrument, and that forced him to stay in Japan. And he bought a farm, for God's sakes. And he has a TV show. He's doing a lot of stuff out there. And it's all for the love of craft beer. So
what's he doing on here?
Yeah, I know, right? So actually, we're having a pretty good conversation here today, folks. So grab a beer and hang out and learn a little bit about Be Easy Brewing.
Check it out.
You go to beeasybrewing.com. But of course, this show is brought to you by morebeer.com, our good friends over at morebeer.com. I was just there buying some ingredients, doing a little project. Can't really talk about it. It's very secretive, Tasty. It's a very secretive project.
All right. Does it involve distilling, does it?
It doesn't involve distilling, but it does involve,
Maybe I'm asking too many questions.
Craft beer.
Oh, cool.
I'm just going to say that.
All right.
I'm just going to say that right now. Right. More Beer has teamed up with the great John Palmer, who I haven't seen in forever. I can't wait to see him this week.
We'll see him this week.
At HomebrewCon. Anyway, they're making 27 beer kits based on the recipes found in Brewing Classic Styles, written by John Palmer and Jamil Zamshif. These kits are true to style and are all within BJCP guidelines, enabling them to be easily entered into that upcoming competition you probably have. Buy 2 kits and get the fast and free shipping that you always know about from More Beer. Go to morebeer.com. 27 beer kits, Brewing Classic Styles. You got to do it. So here's another reason why I'm irritated. You know what I mean? Can I just vent to you for a second? I know, right? It's a lot of stuff, man. So on my other life is doing Disney podcasts, right? And the show's called Ears Up Podcast. Ears Up with a Z. Go to earsup-podcast.com, everybody. It's actually really annoying. I wish I'd made a different name. Yeah, because then you have to explain that it's with a Z, but anyway.
It doesn't matter. Misdo it.
Just let them miss it up.
When they write you a check, you want it to say
exactly. I want to make sure it's cashable. Absolutely right. But I had this. So it's our 5-year anniversary coming up in September.
Congratulations!
Thank you. We've been doing. I just broke this Sierra
Nevada. That's a good run.
Yeah, I've been doing 5 years of Disney-centric podcasting. So I had the really stupid idea, which is actually something I've been trying to get Justin to do on this show for years. Is a marathon, like a lot, and I think we've talked about it on the air, but this is not for literally years, but just to do a live broadcast, 24 hours, nothing big, for charity. I think that would be pretty cool thing. And then so I do the show with Taryn, of course, and Beverly, and then Terrence, our friend Terrence here. And no one wanted to do 24 hours, which I was disappointed about. But I think at this time in my life, I couldn't stay up for 24 hours just because I'm 40 years old and a parent. And I don't think I can really.
You value sleep way too much now.
Yeah, I don't really think I can do that. But I could probably do 12. So I floated.
That's a long time.
I think, right? Oh. I floated the 12-hour idea. And everyone loved it. And we have this other kid on who does like Disney music. It's called Jeremy, Spectro Radio Jeremy. And he's like, I think another podcast does that already. And I'm like, really?
Don't use the Jeremy voice.
Jeremy voice is great. He's from New Jersey. So he talks like this. And I'm like, that's
that's somebody's done it.
Well, because I thought it was an original idea.
A podcast marathon? Or marathons happen all the time.
Marathons happen all the time. But like in our Disney podcast kind of universe, I didn't think anyone had the balls to do it.
Oh,
apparently
so
it turns out
it's another Disney podcast that does the marathon?
For charity. And so now my balloon is deflated. And I'm very much the type of guy where like, well, if I can't have what I want, I don't want anything.
No, you don't.
So now I don't know what to do.
Yours would be better, but what's the point? Really?
What's the point? It's nothing new. So now I go, either we got to go bigger, 72 hours, like let's crush them, or I don't want to do it at all. And so now I'm just really deflated. I'm feeling deflated in all aspects of my professional career, and I don't know what to do about it.
I know. You might have to think about a whole other idea that's like just as good.
Come up with one right now.
Well, I can't.
Make me feel better. God damn it. Make me feel better.
A way to celebrate a 5-year anniversary.
Yeah. We should have a smoke-a-thon.
No.
Why not? How much weed can we shove up our butts?
Well, you did this. You could do it on-site show or something, right?
We did that. Yeah, we did that.
Yeah, so you
probably could.
Weren't they opening of something, a Pixar thing in
Yeah, I think that opened today, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just, I don't know. You know those days that you get when you're kind of just bumming out and everything kind of hits you at once?
Yeah.
That's all.
You got your balloon deflated.
I did get my not only deflated, but like the mouthpiece stretched out, so it just sounds like a squeaky fart for an hour. That's what my balloon has been doing all day.
Stretched out, it won't be the same.
It just
throw that balloon away.
4 hours of inside my head going. Anyway, I'm excited about the show today, folks, and you should be too. But before we do that, let's get to some feedback, not live reads. Feedback. This first one is from Noah. And he says, I thought of a solution for the Adam and Eve live read and Doc missing issues from last week's show. If you remember, there was someone like, live read, and then Doc, I love Doc. This guy solved both. Have Doc do the Adam and Eve live read, so if there are any kids in the car, they would not be able to understand what's being said. Then, at the end of it, JP or Justin can just jump in with the use coupon code BNARMY for free shipping and get a free gift. Excuse me. That way, Adam and Eve would still see traffic to their site because people could understand the correct code, and Doc wouldn't be asking the guests slurred questions. I mean, that's not a bad solution.
It is, but I mean, it's a solution in search of a problem.
Right.
I mean,
it
really,
is terrible.
We don't give a shit if the...
It is a bad solution.
As we responded to that feedback, what's that woman doing?
Bev is screaming. What is happening? She's throwing things. Why are you throwing things? They don't work? The only pair of headphones that don't work? Oh. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Take it up with management, I guess. Take it up with management, Bev. Do you have something to say, or do you just trying to find headphones?
Just run down the fries and buy some more.
Oh. Well, I don't know what to tell you.
Anyway, the Adam and Eve, I don't think it's,
No, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Well, Bev, you can listen to Dan's feedback. He says, hi, I love all the shows on your network, but I have a question about the Heads and Tails podcast. What is the song in the intro? Every time I hear it, I love it. Plus, JP and Beardy are great together. Always shut the fuck up, Beardy. Keep up the great work. Cheers. Well, if Beardy was here and didn't sell me out, that would be great. Well, what is the song? I don't even know, man. Here, for those of you who haven't heard
let me roll the theme.
For those of you who haven't heard it, one day it'll start.
This is technology.
Dude, what the hell's going on? Okay, now this is not what I need.
Another balloon getting deflated?
Yeah. Session intro. What is this? Okay, well, I'm going to close this down. Anyway, you know what? It's honestly, it's just a thing I found on a music site I paid $50 for. I have no idea what it is. I think it's just some musician cobbled together a song and is selling it for, whatever. Sorry, Dan. It's not like something from a well-known John. You know what I mean? It's just a dude. Here it is. It sounds like a pop song or like a current alt rock song. It's not bad. It has all the elements that make a current alt rock song popular. Nice little breakdown.
Yeah, the voices should come in about already.
Yeah, they go, welcome to Heads and Tails Podcast.
Well, I'm not sure if it was a song.
Well, there's a drop here for a second.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. There you go.
Pretty good.
It's not bad. So it has, these are the elements that you need to make it in music. You need hand clapping now. You need woo-woos and hey-yahs. And it has all three of those things, plus upbeat guitar. So I was pleased with it, and you should be too. But anyway, sorry, yeah, Dan, it's... if you really want, I can try to find the actual
just record
thing.
Put your phone up to it sometime. It'll, probably find it for you.
Maybe at the end of the show, I'll just play the entire song for you, so then you can download, clip it.
Yeah,
it's a new ringtone.
Listen to all you want.
Brant writes in. Now, Brant is like an old school listener. I forget his actual name, actual name, but. I recognized the email when it came through. I was like, oh, Jesus, haven't heard from this dude in forever. He goes, greetings, my peeps. I just checked out your YouTube video from the Cal Law Show. Haven't watched a live stream video in several years, and I hate to report that you are all looking pretty damn rough. You are all definitely need a spa day, as my wife would say. Hope you don't die on us. I'm assuming he's talking about you and
Must
Beverly.
Be, yeah.
No,
so rude.
I think I look pretty good for 40.
I'm kind of with my head on the table. I guess that doesn't look too good.
Casey's lost weight. I think Casey looked good.
I'm still weight.
I found it.
I feel good.
I found it. Brian writes in. He says, I'm planning a trip to Milwaukee at the end of the summer, and I just listened to the Lakefront Brewery episode.
Check that place.
I haven't looked at breweries to visit while I'm out there, but I know now that Lakefront will definitely be on the list. Listening to them talk about the beers and your descriptions when tasting them totally sold me on going there at least once. Cheers from Brian. Hey, I appreciate that, Brian. They were good beers, and you're definitely not going to be disappointed. But do me a favor, send them an email and let them know that you heard about us on the Brewing Network. Or, heard about them. But, yeah, go there for sure. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other breweries around. They can probably direct you. I have no idea. But, yeah, good beers, good times. Okay, last but not least, Keith Manchester writes in. He says, hello, brewcasters and Bevo. I'm writing in hopes that you will read my feedback to help me get the word out on a fundraising event my club is doing. We recently lost a member to cancer. Ooh. And I have decided to help raise money for the American Cancer Society by holding a 24-hour brewathon on July 13th and 14th. Members of the Craft Homebrew Club will be brewing beer for 24 straight hours in honor of Betty Elmhurst. If anyone wishes to donate, they can go to crafthomebrewclub.com and click on the Craft versus Cancer logo to be taken to the donation page. Thanks in advance, and I'll be saving up future podcasts of the session so we can keep ourselves entertained during our 24-hour endeavor. Regards, Keith. CraftHomebrewClub.com. I think that's pretty cool. And hey, look, another marathon in the news.
Oh, they should do like a live stream feed or something where they can maybe even be interactive. You could
for sure
come in and pledge, some money, and then they'll announce it on the live streams.
Yeah, that would be dope.
Yeah.
You can get on YouTube or live stream or whatever.
Talk to a brewer at 2:00 in the morning.
What are you?
Wake one up and see what he's doing.
There should also be over-unders. How many times will they forget hops because they're tired?
That's right.
Or how many boilovers were there? Because 24 hours of brewing, something's got to go wrong.
Well, it's a party too. So.
Oh, it's got to be, for sure. But if you're going to be up 24 hours, that's what I was telling everybody when we were trying to do our live stream, talk about our 12-hour thing.
Yeah, but you said no alcohol.
Yeah, I was like, look, we can't have alcohol because I'm going to fall asleep after hour 6 of having a beer, and I don't want to drop a hard F or something like that. No. And it can't happen. It's for kids. It's a family show.
Yeah.
So we can't have any drinking.
Ooh.
But
24 hours without drinking.
That's why I was
That's a showstopper.
But we do a thing if you're a Patreon supporter of ours, of course. This is a whole thing, just a plug for Ears Up because I need to fill time. For $5 a month, you get a secret show where we don't live stream it. It's a podcast only for Patreon supporters, $5, and
we can drop a hard F occasionally.
And we curse and we drink and we give you a mixed drink recipe, a tiki drink recipe for free every month. Just for being a $5 donation listener. Anyway, but I think that format could work here. Don't you think? Like, if we did a 24-hour broadcast on the Brewing Network to raise money for charity, people would be into that, right?
For it to stop. So, you'd raise some from me.
Is that how it works?
Well, I mean, would we all have to be here? We'd all have to be here 24 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Could we be in the same room for 24 hours? Like all of us?
Sure.
You think?
Well, 23.
That 23 and a half, man, I'm out of here.
We'd have to have our weapons checked.
I think so, too. And I wonder if we would come in shifts.
And but we would be drinking, right?
Well, I think we would have to.
I'd be sleeping.
Well, but then that's the other thing is we would be sleeping. So I wonder if maybe Jay and I would split it. Maybe I would do the first 12, and he would take the closer. He would be like the cleanup 12.
The cleanup? Are you... Almost dropped a hard R.
Are you deficient in enzymes in your brain?
Are you an idiot?
You don't think so?
I mean, he might show up to do the second 12 hours, but I feel like he would be here for the first 12 hours also.
Well, I was just trying to give him not an out, but I don't want to be here 24 hours, but I think it'd be cool. You have to be here 24 hours.
It'd be cool if we did it.
No, I would not.
It'd be cool doing it.
It'd be cool after the fact? Okay, well...
Yeah, it'd be tough. Hours 17, 18 would be hard.
But I feel like after hour 6, it's kind of all the same.
Really?
I don't know.
I've done some 5-hour shows.
I feel like with our platform...
Well, that is true.
And with our personalities, it would get gratuitous. And...
Well, we'd have to have some content. We just couldn't wing it all night.
I mean, it would just be 24 hours of lunch
We
meat.
get, like brewers in other time zones to, talk to us at 10 o'clock in their morning.
That's actually a really good idea.
2 o'clock.
Well, right, and that would be part of what we would do on my show,
to us
too.
at their convenience.
But we would also have to be on top of our game at that point.
Well, it would be very challenging, but I guess I don't really understand how the donations work. Do people donate because we're doing it, or do they donate because we're trying to hit a goal, and as soon as we hit that goal, we're done?
Well, we'd probably acknowledge donations, right? We'd have somebody running the donation desk or something.
Yeah.
And they would go Brandon from Sydney just donated $100 or something like that.
Yeah.
Get their name on the show.
How much would you contribute to not do it?
You see? Yeah, or 6 hours into it, they cut it off. Right?
Yeah, she's like, well, I'm done
I
here
read
now.
a check here.
I think that would be, I don't know. I think it'd be cool. I mean, I know it's not going to work, but anyway, we have NHC coming up. I know most people leave, I think, tonight or tomorrow. When do you leave?
I'm flying up tomorrow afternoon.
Tomorrow afternoon, all right. And I know Bev leaves tomorrow, right? I leave Thursday. I'll be there Thursday, so Portland will miss me. Although Rainier will still be there, I'm sure, when I get there. But that'll be cool. And then, of course, we have the Brewing Network anniversary number 13. 13 years of this weird spaceship we're doing. That'll be a lot of fun at Base Camp Brewing.
Yeah, Saturday night.
I'm looking forward to that. And, it'll be a weird weekend, man. It'll be very strange. Portland has a lot of weird stuff going on. Wasn't there some convention you were telling me about?
I was not telling you about
Someone was saying there
was a Miss Maze.
Yeah, I told you about that, but there was something else going on.
There's something else going on, but I wasn't
equally
talking about
as
it.
weird and bizarre.
But I was there when you were talking about it. I just don't remember what it was.
It was last Monday. I think Warren was probably like, blah, 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 blah.
That sounds like Warren.
I think it'll be a good time, man. And then I come back on Sunday, and then Taryn goes back to work on Monday. Tasty. I'm gonna be babysitting. I'm gonna be raising my child
this is a
officially.
whole new phase here.
Yes.
You've been practicing being a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah, for years.
Well,
raising my cats.
Now.
Yeah.
Cats. Now you're actually going to be a stay-at-home dad.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
Well, and I realized today, my move is, I get up in the morning and I feed her and I play with her for an hour, and then I put her back to bed. And then basically Taryn kind of does everything the rest of the day.
Oh.
So I don't know how it's going to go. I'm actually a little nervous to spend time with my own child going, okay, you've been up for home. Man, only 20 minutes. It's not nap time yet. Shit, what do I do? Here's a toy. Here's the toy again.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that. I know a lot of people in general.
Yeah.
But a lot of my friends are going through exactly what you're going through, right? I knew them when they were single.
Yeah.
I knew when they were dating, and now I know when they're married. Now I know when they got a kid. And some guys are great at stay-at-home dad. Other guys, it just doesn't work. The wives usually figure it out and go like, "Yeah, I'm gonna kill this guy. And he's not gonna be, so whatever."
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be fine. Honestly, my biggest fear is just
fucking it up, right?
It's just being like bored.
Oh,
it's just being bored. Like, what do you do with a 3-month-old baby at home? You go
sleep a lot, which is you'll be appreciating that.
But she's up for an hour and a half in between naps, and it's like, well, I don't. I mean, you can only put her on her back and jiggle a thing in front of her face so long. And I don't want to do that. Like, I'm just not used to doing that I don't know what to do.
Why don't you just put a thunder blanket on, or what do they call it? It's like what they do to the dogs.
Thunder blanket.
It's called a thunder vest or something. They wrap it around your dog, and it makes them feel really comfortable. Huh. Well, they do that in babies, right? They
the swaddle? Yeah.
She still like that?
She's still, we're weaning her off of that because she can sort of almost roll over, like on her side, and that's not good because then she'll just choke.
Oh, okay. Anyway, don't they have these things you wind up and it rocks them like continuously and you don't have to do it?
Yeah, it's true. I could do that, but then I feel like a I don't know, non-hands-on dad. I feel weird about doing that. Well, you know what I mean? Like even like when I like in the morning, I'll leave her on the floor, like on her toy mat, so I can go make a cup of coffee, and I legitimately feel bad, like I'm abandoning my child for my own personal needs, and I feel like a piece of shit.
You're allowed a little time away.
I feel like a giant piece of garbage whenever I do that, and I don't know why.
No.
I'm such a mess, dude. I just have so many problems. We're also going to do some beer news after the segment with Gareth and Masahiro and Ry and Chika. Just a couple 3 stories, nothing super major, but I think the impact of these stories is pretty good. So I don't know. Stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna take a break. Quick break. Maybe I'll put a song on because I might have to use the restroom. I don't know. We'll see. You may never know. But when we come back, are you gonna friggin' start or are you not gonna start? You're not gonna start. Hey, you started. All right, when we come back, of course, Gareth Burns from Be Easy Brewing in Japan in the studio with beer, with guests. We're going to talk beer. We're going to talk Japanese things. We're going to talk Japan. We might even make out. You never know.
You're listening to the Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
First Amendment.
Watch out!
Do you like beer? They make beer.
Watch out!
Do you like friends and fun? They make friends and fun.
Watch out!
Do you still like to have a good time? The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
The 21st Amendment in San Francisco, located at 563 2nd Street, 2 blocks from the building where baseball is seen and played. Try their beers in the pub or try them in the can, featuring
Monk's Blood.
Made with real monk.
Watch out!
So why not have the best time of your life? Go to the 21A and Sean O'Sullivan will personally greet you with a can of
Monk's Blood. The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
This advertisement is not in any way affiliated nor associated with the 21st Amendment Bar and Pub, nor its subsidiaries or affiliates. This telecast is not copywritten by the 21st Amendment for the private use of the Brewing Network. Any use of this telecast without Jamil Zainashev's consent is prohibited. Suck it, JP.
Do you know the 3 most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star Sand, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019. $5.99 and get the 5-star treatment today.
You're tuned into the session.
Because life's too short to listen to crappy radio.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. We're going to jump right into it here, but before we do, of course, as you know, sometimes jockey boxes can be frustrating. Luckily, there's now a solution. Pancho's Keg Cooler, an elegant option for serving cold beer at social gatherings, something I don't really know a whole lot about. Imagine a water cooler tall enough and wide enough. Imagine a water cooler tall enough and with enough room inside to fit a 5-gallon corny keg, including a small 2.5-pound CO2 tank and a regulator. At a beer faucet and you have a kegerator on the move, you have Pancho's Keg Cooler, now available at ponchosbrewinglab.com. Get $20 off your Pancho's Keg Cooler purchase by using code BNET, that's BNET. For additional information and for answers to frequently asked questions, visit ponchosbrewinglab.com. Imagine a radio host who can read. Is pretty much where we were going with that. All right, we have
job description.
We have a full studio, which I like. Tasty. It was kind of lonely, just you and me.
Yeah, it really was kind of.
I mean, I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong.
No,
but it was kind of.
It's much cooler too. There's more warmth in here now.
That is true. We have our friend Ry back in the studio. How you doing, man? Good to see you. It's been. Oh, here. Let me turn everybody's mics on first. That would help. Okay, how you doing?
I'm doing excellent.
Nice.
Thank you for having me back.
Thanks for dragging us some guests, man.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Some rising stars from Japan. We always try to bring in the best of Japan's craft brewers in here, and we have Gareth Burns from Be Easy Brewery in Aomori. So it's the deep north of Japan on Japan's main island of Honshu. If you go all the way up through snow country, they're right there. Some of the highest snowfall in the world, and he's brewing beer there.
Wow. Gareth, how you doing, man?
Good. Thanks.
How do you say the town again? Aomori?
So the prefecture's
more
called
Italian.
The prefecture's called Aomori, and the place I live is called Hirosaki.
Hirosaki.
Yeah, that's where.
See,
our
that I can
is.
say.
Yeah.
Hirosaki, but Aomori just sounds like Italian.
I think it's the AO that gets you mixed up.
Aomori.
Yeah.
I can't really do it. Hirosaki.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stop because I can't do it.
Just call it the town you live in. I think it's
the place where you. Yeah. I love the Japanese language. I think it's so beautiful, but I don't picture myself ever remembering anything at all.
Yeah, I didn't picture myself remembering anything either, and somehow I figured out the language. So.
Yeah, you're sitting here talking to it's like, wow, I don't know,
he
man.
Actually
whatever.
speaks the local dialect even, and it's a crazy dialect.
What's different about it?
It's almost incomprehensible. I lived in Japan 14 years. I studied it in grad school. I go up there, and I if somebody's speaking in that dialect, I'll get 10% of it.
Is it like a village, more like a village? Because my family's from Greece, in a small village, so like an hour and a half from Athens. And when I was a kid, I asked my dad, "Hey, teach me Greek." And he goes, "We know village Greek. You if you went to Athens, nobody would know what you're talking about. You couldn't talk to anybody." And he said it was like pretty different. Is something?
It's very
like
similar
that?
to that. I guess in America you could say Cajun. Like, if Cajun people came in here and started talking to each other, we'd all be sitting here like...
think about that.
Yeah, so it's very similar to that. It's Japanese, but it's not really, kind of. So
the same grammar structures, but all the suffixes on the verbs, everything, even like colloquialisms, completely different.
Oh, yeah, different analogies and everything. So what about the written portion? That's different as well?
Exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
They're just messing with out-of-towners.
Yeah, it's just they have their own language. They were
they were isolated, so they never developed.
Exactly,
they never moved on.
Exactly
they
what
probably
it
didn't
is.
have television or whatever.
That's crazy, man. And so would you say common Japanese and then the local?
I've got enough to where if I go to Tokyo, it's not that they don't understand me, but I've never studied Japanese. I just lived there and slowly took it in. And so for the first 4 or 5 years, I didn't even realize how far off the beaten path I was as far as Japanese. And so people from Tokyo would come up and I'd talk to them and they'd start laughing and you get self-conscious like, oh, I messed up my Japanese again.
The
They're
American screwed it up, dude.
I have no idea what you're saying right now. I'm like, I'm speaking what everybody else speaks. What do you mean? And they're like, this is not what we speak outside of this town. Like,
that's funny. Well, and then of course we have Chika and Masahiro as well, but they have requested not to say anything into the microphones unless they want to.
Chika, say hello.
Yeah.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. Perfect. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
All right, I'll stop making him feel awkward. But I like that. It's cool, man. And so I definitely want to get into how you got into all this. Like, how did you get into Japan in general?
So I originally was in the military. I was a EOD guy, bomb squad guy.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Lived in America for 2 years and then got stationed in Japan. And I moved to Japan, and then a month later I deployed. And then I came back, and I was like, okay, now I can kind of check out Japan. And they were like, oh, you got to deploy again. And so I said, well, can I actually see where I live? And then, I decided, I was like, I think I might go a different route. And I finished out my enlistment and got discharged, and then was going to stay in Japan a year just to check it out, to see the real part of Japan, and then come back to the States.
Man. Yeah.
Might as well.
Here we are.
Still there.
13 years
Oh,
later.
my God.
Yeah.
Is that part of like where the bases are? Is it sort of, I don't say Americanized, but is it sort of catered more to the American servicemen? First of all, thank you for your service. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's definitely, I don't want to say it's not Japan, but it's not America, but it's kind of somewhere in the middle.
I'm picturing like when we went on our cruise to Nassau, Bev, and then you get off the boat and it's like Tourist Trap 101. It's not really Nassau because it's not really Nassau, but it's more geared to everyone filing off the boat.
Right, yeah.
It's something like that.
Similar. So
half
I
tourist,
kind of
half reality.
Kind of wanted to get away from that for just a year, so I could be in it. Like, just no English, no nothing. Just let me get it in, and then get back, and then I just
you didn't get back.
In, yeah.
So what happened? You took the wrong train and ended up north like that? What brought you up there?
So like I was at the military base is actually on the other side of where I live, and so that's where I was.
Oh, I see.
And then the town I'm in now is a really historical town. It has a castle. There's a lot of stuff that was born out of that area, even though it's really isolated. And so I decided.
I feel like every town in Japan is historical.
They all have. They've been around a while, so they all have something. Yeah. And so I decided, I'll just jump right in there and do my thing for a year, and then head out. And now I built a house a few years ago, which is even more out in the middle of nowhere. So I'm just slowly moving away from civilization. It seems like
you're going to be the hermit.
Yeah,
with the big long beard and the robes, and you're going to be
there's some crazy foreigner up there living in the mountains.
Yeah, the local lord's like, don't go up there. You're going to have your own dialect.
Yeah. At that point, I'll be rambling to myself.
So that first year, Gareth was teaching English, but then picked up an instrument. And I think that's the really
that's right. Yeah,
story.
I read about that. So what is this instrument? I was hoping you would just like be able to pull it out in like some some amazing heroic gesture, but
So it was actually born in that area. Mm-hmm. It's called the Tsugaru Shamisen. And it's a 3-string instrument. There's no frets. There's no sheet music. It was originally played by blind people as a way to get by.
Shugata Samisen?
Yep. Yeah, that's it. Got it.
Not bad.
Next time you need to say something in Japanese, just put that on loop. And
I don't understand.
And so, I've never played an instrument before, but I saw it. And I thought, when in Rome, when in Japan, I may as well... If I'm going to play an instrument, this may as well be the first one. And I got
the hardest sounding one.
Yeah,
but I guess the blind people can do it.
Yeah, I was like, I'll give it a shot.
Right.
And so I just jumped into it. And I got relatively good at it. It wasn't that I was just a non-Japanese playing it. I actually was respectable. I didn't went to Taiwan and Korea and played shows all over Japan for a while there, and between me playing that and speaking the local dialect for that instrument, you kind of stick out. I guess, and so...
Is it more, you get more, maybe a little street cred than if you were just, here's a Westerner who had no idea the language, but I'm playing the instrument?
Yeah, I think the fact that I can when I'm performing or something, I can back it up with that local language, and even for Japanese people, they're like, it's a non-Japanese playing the instrument, and wait, and I speak it, what do you say? It's not like if I tried to talk in an English accent right now, maybe I could pretend to pull it off, but like people be like, "Come on, man, you're." But like since I really learned that language, so it's like it's not like I'm putting on a show. I'm just speaking Japanese the only way I know how.
You have an accent.
Yeah, the thick accent. I use the special words and the.
So I'm gathering that you're not just like an amateur player. Like when you say go play shows, I think of like out here you would have people just come around with an acoustic guitar at a coffee shop and they would play Wonderwall for 10 hours. Like it's not that, right?
No, it was like
or
that
was
kind
it that?
of
I
at
don't
first.
know.
Then it grew into it, and like I played we played a show at the biggest museum in Taipei, and I did a tour in Taipei and stuff, and I played in places in Japan and in front of thousands of people at some times, and then
by yourself?
Yeah, by myself or with other players, or yeah.
So or do people come and see you? Oh my gosh, Gareth is playing, and we got to go see.
Yeah, in the shamisen world, and people that enjoy it, they. But back when I played it a lot more. Now at the brewery, it's.
You know what it sounds like, Tasty. You remember Shea Comfort?
Sure.
He played the Duke, which is not a Hungarian. Maybe it is, but like some certain was wood instrument that maybe 5 people in the world play. Mm-hmm. And it is Hungarian. Yeah, and that's what it reminds me of. And he kind of grew into this sought after musician because he just liked the instrument and started playing it. Now he's in a band and plays shows and all sorts of stuff like that. It sounds very similar.
Yeah, it was similar to that. But I mean that wasn't. It was good and I enjoyed it. The more I realized, the more I did it professionally, the less I started to enjoy it. Like playing it was just everything else that comes with being involved with money and this, and so now I just play it. I mostly go to retirement homes and stuff because the elderly people love it and stuff, and so I do stuff more volunteer-ish opposed to going out and trying to make a living doing it kind of thing.
How many albums did you drop?
We didn't make any CDs because it's all what is it? They have their. So they have their songs that are made because it's folk songs, and then you interpret it your way. And the special thing about it is that you don't learn a song and you play it that way. You learn the song and you interpret it, and then each time you play it is improvised. Huh? Every time you play the instrument's improvised. So I don't learn a song and just play that 1,000 times in a row.
It's like a template?
Yeah,
maybe?
So that's my template, and then I play it depending if I was here drinking beer on the Brewing Network, maybe that image of me here for the first time and everything, I would play the song a certain way. If I'm there with playing in front of the elderly at a home or something, I'll play some way that I think might get to them. And so it's not like a CD or listen to with headphones instrument. It's a kind of like a one-on-one experience.
It's not a range. It's just created almost on the spot.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
a theme.
Yeah, so.
You're like a one-man jam band.
Yeah, one man. That's if I ever make a CD, there it is.
The one-man jam
Gareth
band.
Burns, the one-man jam band. They're like, that doesn't sound Japanese at all.
No, everyone will pick it up like, I don't know what this is.
Nah.
It's just so like folks like old farming songs or something
kind
like
of
that?
like I would say close to the blues. It was originally played by people that didn't have that couldn't see, and then the farmers. It was kind of like a peasant's instrument, and so the farmers would play and write songs about how terrible it is when the weather changes or the sadness and things like that, and it kind of became an instrument for the people to release their stress in that way, I guess.
There are a lot of salacious songs as well.
Oh, really? Oh, like like Farmer's Daughter songs and stuff?
The Talk Dirty.
I like that. What are those songs about?
Oh, a lot of the older ones are like that, yeah. And but the singing was improvised as well as the playing, and so now it doesn't go over as well, with political correctness. But back in the day, it was more drinking and just getting it out of their system on the spot kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I'm looking through my music because I actually have like this collection of Japanese farming songs somehow that my friend gave me, and I'm just curious to see if they're very similar or not. But I don't have it anymore. Now I see it's Greek music. I'm weird. Anyway, so you're in Japan. Actually, Bomb Squad.
Yeah.
So defusing bombs.
Yeah.
You're the dude. You're that guy. You're the crazy ass.
I was the dude.
We're not the crazy
You're
guy.
the cut the red or the blue wire guy?
Yeah, it's always yellow, just in case you ever need to do it. Like, wait, everyone says red or blue. It's got to be yellow.
Don't say that, because someone might be listening. Now we got to change up our...
Change up the tactics. Yeah, so...
Why Bomb Squad?
When I went into the military, I wanted to do something a little bit more serious, I guess. There's lots of different jobs in the military, and they're all important. And, you can be the guy that makes the food, or you can be the guy that sets up the tents But I wanted something that was challenging, and when I went in, it was actually on my list of things that I wanted to do, and I talked to the recruiter, and he's like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, man." And
who has that on the list of things to do? You were in the military, right, Tasty? Is that anything close to what you wanted to do?
I didn't get to choose. But,
okay.
So Gareth was right out of high school. Jump.
Yeah,
okay.
Invincible.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, now I have, a wife and family. Yeah, now, when I look back at it, I'm like, thank God I was young and invincible then, because now there's no money around the world you can get me to go do with my daughters and everything like that. But then 18 and just...
head full of testosterone.
Yeah,
and you're like, here we go.
Get it in. Here we go.
Live forever.
Yeah, I'm gonna. No bomb exploding is gonna stop me.
Right. Well, I'm glad you made it out all right, and I can understand why that you would rather live in Japan than potentially live across a giant area of Japan if a bomb goes off or something like that. So, let's talk about beer. How did you get into beer?
So, a buddy of mine, I was living in Japan, and we went through the bomb squad school together, and then he got stationed in Japan later on, and we went out to dinner for one day, and they had a small Italian restaurant in Hirosaki actually had two beers to choose from. Hitachino Nest. Mm-hmm. It was a Weizen and a Pale Ale. And he's like, oh, yeah, the Red Owl, this is really popular. People in America know. He's like, you got to try it. And I tried the Weizen, and I was just like, what? Why have I not been able to do keg stands of this in my life? I'd play beer pong with this. Why is this not?
What have you been drinking before that?
I think I was just drinking for the effect, not really for the flavor kind of thing. So whatever was on. I drank a lot of Japanese sake too, but that's high alcohol and smooth drinking, so that never turns out well.
No.
And it's just like, it's just a little bit, and then,
especially for kids in the bomb squad.
Yeah, crash and burn.
We're going to be drinking sake later. So
yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You guys
I think it'll be great.
And so, I had that, and then that was it. Just kind of dove into the rabbit hole, and then I went home one time, and someone handed me a beer, and I drank. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like,
where's home?
Back in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Went home, and I was like, this is awesome. Who made this? He's like, I did. And I was like, no, you didn't. He's like, I did. And I was like, oh, wow, it's another rabbit hole to dive down. And then that was it. Yeah, like...
One of your friends gave you one of his Johns.
Yeah, yep.
See?
And
there we go.
What do you know about Johns? That's pretty good.
Hey, regional dialects, man. It's my thing now.
Oh, my God. All the time with the Johns.
Yeah, man. You got to hand me the John. Need one of these Johns?
Yeah. Drive one of these Johns.
You literally just made his life by entertaining this.
No, it's so
I feel legitimized.
I didn't see someone out in California talking about Johns, so he got it.
I got a friend who's from Philly, and he just introduced me to Johns. I'm like, I love Johns.
Yeah.
Johns is amazing. It's everything.
For anything and everything. Yeah, like, I'm not feeling that John. Like,
see, Bev? Here we go.
Literally, an email came through earlier about a folder being shared for us to put all of our Johns. That is a direct quote.
That's pretty good usage of the word John, honestly. Put your Johns in this folder on the computer. That's it.
I don't know why that gets me. Maybe it's the beer. I don't know.
All right, so you had this a good beer epiphany. Then you had this one, you can make it yourself epiphany.
Yeah.
So then you go back to Japan.
Yep. And
what do you do next?
I just started home brewing.
You had ingredients and all that available?
I could get stuff through friends and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so started home brewing. And then one of my buddies that was still on the base, we would go to his house and homebrew as well. And then it just seemed like the next best move would be to open up a brewery.
So you wanted to start a business, or?
I wanted to start something that... so where I live, because it's so isolated, for example, we got Starbucks 2 years ago. It finally came to the city. And...
is that a good thing?
For me, what do you say? Maybe it's a good thing, but at the same time, I don't think that really does anything for the city.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do anything for the poor employment rate, and it doesn't do anything for the fact that we have the lowest salary in Japan. But that's the reoccurring thing. 7-Eleven's here, and it's like, that's not going to save.
No, it's just more like a milestone of how much the outside influence is finally getting there.
Exactly, yeah. So I said, if I didn't do anything, it would have been 8 years from now, when it's already well past everything, and the city would have got together with the other businessmen that control the town, and they would have thrown together a brewery and probably just not done what they should have done and misrepresented it, and then everybody would have... It would have been the same cycle that it usually goes through. Like, Aomori, they're not really famous for anything, and there's nothing there that I really want to buy kind of thing, and so...
So there weren't any beer drinkers in town that are just waiting for your product to be made?
Yeah, I assumed there wasn't. And, like, what I assumed is that I would distribute a lot of beer to Tokyo and everything like that. And then eventually...
Service your local
the
area?
The city would kind of start to catch on. And surprisingly enough, when I built the Beacon of Light, the people just came out of the woodwork. And they were like, I don't have to go to Tokyo anymore to drink craft beer.
Oh,
like,
they were there.
They just, we had a much bigger welcome than I could have ever imagined.
Oh, the woodwork, I like that.
Yeah, like, where did you all come from? Like, where do you, like...
We should have been hanging out.
Yeah, like, what is this? Like, they just, from other cities, they would take an hour train ride to come in, and, like, they just, and so...
Wow.
We had a really good reception locally, and then as far as distributing beer as well, we've done really well with that, too, so it just...
So your business model originally was to essentially export beer out, which is not like that here. Now, when you open a brewery, Tasty, your business model is local only.
The brewery tap room is a standard model now, but it wasn't always that way. I think for a long time it was some of each.
Sure, yeah, but it's just when did you open? Actually,
about almost November of 2016.
Okay, so it's still within like that kind of. I don't know, snapping back, I guess, of the expectations of craft beer and how far you could really go with it. Now, to be quote unquote successful, you're just focusing on your local region, but that's not the case.
No, that's not.
Is it just you, or is it Japan in general? Or yeah, you didn't know you had a market, but.
Yeah, I think, but in Japan in general, it's still not nowhere near like it is here.
Yeah,
like as far as players, and then also, it's I'm brewing on. American brewers. I have an 8-barrel system, so it's. And the business model I set up, I only need to brew twice a month and sell that.
Wow.
And so it was. I made a very, what do you say, a road to be able to succeed without having too much pressure, kind of thing. And so, we make about 60 kegs a batch of beer, and a keg of beer over there is 15 liters. Is the average. So that's 3.8 gallons or whatever. So. Yeah, it's just we distribute maybe about half of it, and the rest of it we sell in our tap room, and it's
that's pretty good.
And we brew a lot more now. But like if it ever got to the point where, like it is now, local, you got to go to your local place, then we could always dial back production and just focus on the tap room. Since, like I said, it's 2 batches a month is all that's required for me to keep the ship afloat.
Keep the supply line filled up. Huh?
Wow, that's pretty great.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought the building, and then I bought the equipment, and then I built the brewery myself, and I built the tap room myself, and I never built a brewery. I've never worked in a brewery, but I didn't want to.
You built the brewery?
We pulled in the tanks.
You got sheets of stainless, and you start putting them in the circles and shit?
I was in there welding with a TIG welder.
I never welded, so I had to learn how to weld.
You bought a system and installed it? Or?
Yeah, we bought a system, installed it, ran the coolant lines, ran the electricity, ran the 3-phase.
So how did you know what you were doing?
I didn't, man.
But how did you? So did you just like close your eyes and pick out a catalog, or how did you?
He defused bombs, man.
Yeah, I ordered it.
Stuff is easy.
I ordered the system.
No,
really. I ordered the system, and I ordered it from China, and it came in, and just.
Well, I guess that's what I mean. Like, how do you know what system to order? How do you know what size you needed? Because you never brewed before. So what do you know from?
So I looked at what other people were doing, and one of the bigger breweries in Japan is Baird, and they took a 1,000-liter system very far away. They pushed it to the limit, and they had 3 tap rooms around Tokyo, and they were distributing and bottling, and I saw what they did with that system, and I knew that 1/10 of that was okay for me. I don't really need to build the world empire, and so I saw that how much they did with it, and I realized that was a good number to max out at. That was fine for me. And so that's how I went about choosing. And you do some math, and you're like, okay, I need to at least sell this much, and I don't want to be brewing 4, 5, 6 batches a week of 100-liter beer either.
Yeah.
And so I figured
that's work, dude. No one wants to do that shit.
That's exactly what I'm trying to avoid here. And so the 1,000 liters seemed like like kind of like the safe zone as far as if I wanted to take it really big, I could, and if I wanted to hang back, I could, and so it seemed like the right fit, and it seems to be working out. So.
I'm just curious because I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I would need somebody to come in and tell me what to buy.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you really need this, dummy. And I go, okay, here's a check. And then, you know what I mean? That's what I would need to do. But apparently you're a lot smarter than I am.
No, I just put a little...
Or you didn't care. Or you're just like, who cares? Like, if it works, it works. If not, I'll figure something else out.
Yeah, no, I just figured as long as I just keep at it, then it's going to work out. Like, as long as I keep putting thought into it or keep
it... So you're very positive.
Yeah, well, if a problem comes up, all you can do is... fix it and just head another direction, and so that's how I looked about it, and it was not easy. You know, if I had the money to have somebody help me do everything, I probably would have. But like it all worked out. So I mean, it's going okay.
All right, well that's good.
One of the fastest growing new breweries in Japan, actually. So it's not just
it's not just working out.
Yeah, he makes good beer.
Okay, we should. We'll try some at the next break.
Hopefully
I'm
it traveled
excited
well,
about
but you know they're one of the hot breweries in Japan right now, definitely.
Wow.
So now you're commercially brewing. How do you get ingredients for that? That's shipped in by the pallet, or do you...
Yeah. So he actually imports.
somebody?
He imports Simpson's malt.
Oh.
And I was using a couple other brands from a company that import. They're the main importer of malt, but their malt section is actually a small part of a huge food importer. Oh. So they don't really. Anyway,
they ship you a bag of fertilizer and say, "Oh, did we send you the wrong thing?"
Yeah, you know.
So why do they have malted barley if they don't know what to do with it?
Because that's their. I know they started doing it from a long time ago, and they just.
I see. It's grandfathered in.
Yeah, they scooped it up.
Not their forte. But.
Yeah, and so Simpson's malt is pretty. That's all I pretty much use to brew with.
It's great malt.
Okay. It's great, absolutely amazing, and hops. There's some hop importers here and there in Japan, and so you go through and see who's got hops and who doesn't, and. But most of it, everything has to be imported, yeah? Pretty sure there's no...
I mean, there's native hop farms. They're just not large scale, and the big one's owned by Kirin. There are a few large breweries that have their own hop yards, but it's, for like wet hop stuff, it's not enough to sustain them.
Okay.
There's some like local malting on a very small scale, but Japan has to import
everything,
the malt and the hops. And I mean, there's definitely the space to run some professional hop fields there, but again, the cost of labor in Japan's high. I just think Japan's always going to have to import most of its raw materials.
Okay.
And then yeast, you use dry yeast? Or
using dry yeast. I was all about going down the liquid yeast, but by the time it gets to my door, it's about $1,000 for a 10-barrel pitch. A 10-barrel pitch is, from White Labs to here would be $250, I think. But by the time it gets to me, it's 1,000. That's
like import taxes and stuff, or just shipping,
taxes and shipping and this.
Because you need it in 2-3 days, I guess, right? Yeah,
expedited shipping.
So it's not cheap.
No,
whereas it's. I mean, it would be great to use it, but when you can get packets of SF5 or 4 or Lalamed's yeast, and it's $70 for a pitch. It's like it's really hard.
You can stock it up.
I would love to be doing that, but it's much easier.
And dry yeast has really gone up in quality.
I drink a lot of great beers made with dry yeast. I'm not assuming that your beer is in any way deficient because you use dry yeast.
But for some of the specialty beers, it'd be nice if I wanted to brew some Belgian beers or something. It'd be nice to get that yeast. But at the same time, IPAs or pale ales, SF5 gets it done. So,
backtracking a little bit, we were talking about the difficulties of Gareth opening up a brewery, but one thing that we haven't touched on, his favorite topic, is bureaucracy.
Oh, we love it too.
We don't want to get on it. We don't open up. You
can't just open a brewery in Japan. You can't say, "Hey, I'm going to open a brewery," and do it. It's an enormous amount of paperwork, a lot of bureaucracy that you have to work through, a lot of just governmental stupidity that you have to get beyond.
Yeah,
and he did it all himself without, if you've got. A Japanese native that you're working with, it's definitely easier.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the first. He's not the only one. There's others that have done it, but a place like Aomori, I mean, this is like the hinterlands, and you're dealing with some very conservative bureaucracy.
That's okay.
What do you mean you want to start a brewery? pull the alarms.
They didn't want anything like that in there, or they just didn't understand it?
Well, the city hall just told me no. They're like, can't do it. And I was like, you can't do it. And
it's
they
the
were
worst
like,
thing to tell Garrett. You can't do it.
Yeah, if you ever want me to do something for you, just tell me I can't do it. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll show you that. But that's what they say. They're like, no way you can open up a brewery. No way people are going to go to it. No way you can sell product to Tokyo. And I was like, I'll remember you. And then had 2 banks turn me away. One straight up said, I don't know about lending money to a non-Japanese, a white person. And I was like, put you on my list. And then I went to another one, and they pretty much did the like, yeah, like gave me the smiles, and then
shredded that thing.
Like, well, we'll look into you. We'll get back to you in 15 minutes. And nope. And I was like, and so the last bank I went in, and I just went in with the fury, and I was like, I need to talk to the bank manager and like somebody. And I was like, and I sat him down. I was like, look, just listen to me. I was like, I can't write up the paperwork the way you want it. I'm not Japanese. I can't do whatever dog and pony show you want, but if you just listen to me, ask me any question, I'll tell you honestly, and just give me a chance to explain what I'm trying to do. And do
you have a business plan?
Yeah, I had a business plan and stuff and everything, and I had bars in Tokyo that I'd known from the time before that were willing to buy my kegs.
And I have a sense that you're putting some of your own money in as well. To make them.
So I borrowed $250,000. That was what I needed to borrow, but I used my life savings, which was like $130,000. And so you would think a bank's like, come on,
shit, man, we're insured.
Like it's like I got $10. Can I open a brewery? And they're like, I'm like, I think I'm kind of putting, and they're like, yeah, that doesn't matter. I'm like, but it should very much matter. Like,
right.
Yeah. So that was how it went, man. It was uphill battle No, there was nothing that went smooth. It was the city telling me no. It was banks telling me no. It was the tax office, like, just hoping that they told me no and I would stop. The tax office had to get the license through. And yeah, that's how it went.
Yeah, I mean, how do you tell a license, the tax office for the license? When they tell you no, how do you tell them, what do you mean no?
Oh, I just say, like, what's no? And they're like, all of it. And then I just go back and fix it and give it to them again. And
it's just problems with the paperwork.
I just think they were hoping you'd give up. Like, really, like, honestly, like, I think a lot of people, like,
most would.
Yeah, if you saw what it takes, like, if someone's like, I gave up doing it, I'd be like, yep, I understand. Like, I don't judge you for it. And so, but yeah, every week I'd go in, like, how you doing, guys? I'm back. And they're like, and then eventually,
so you warmed down.
Yeah, that's what it was. Like, eventually, like, all right, let's just get this done. And I was like, I could have done this a year. It took me a year. It took me a year to get my brewing license. Like,
really?
From the time I went into the office to the time they actually finally gave it to me, it was. And I feel bad. I wish I had kept notes to help other people. But if someone asked me, I just tell them, don't give up and just keep
pushing.
just keep
showing up. Yeah.
Just keep doing it.
The tax office is notorious in Japan for not wanting to give people licenses. It's all locally run by your local tax office. And these guys are bureaucrats. They're like, oh, man, you mean I got to go out to a brewery and actually check on it? It's extra work.
More work. Another thing to check on once a month or whatever.
Yeah, so.
Huh. Is it in your local area? Was it also that they just really didn't know anything about it?
There's only one. No, there's 2 breweries, but they hadn't given out a brewing license in 20 years, and so that was it. And like I said, since everything gets there last, I tried to explain to them this idea of craft beer, and they're like, nah, we're Japanese, we like Asahi, and I'm like, yeah, well, Americans love Budweiser, but things start to change, and you eventually. This will become the norm in Japan as well, and don't you want to be kind of at the forefront of it? And they're like, no,
not really.
Well, I do, so you don't have to be on board. But
how many people remember the banks that lended to AB?
yeah, exactly. So it just, I don't know, man. That's what it was.
Well, good for you, dude. I don't know if I could do it. I would have been like, everyone hates my idea. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and that's it.
Luckily, from personality-wise, that just is fuel. Because now when I run into those guys, I just ear-to-ear grin like, hey, it's on me. Hey, you can have come have some beers if you want, man.
You say, like, all those people, instead of sending them a big FU, it's great. Free beer whenever you guys want.
The city, whenever they show up, I'm like, yeah, have a beer, man. I sell a lot of beer in Tokyo, actually. I bring a lot of money to this pre-break. Did you know that? Did you know that? You didn't. I know you do, but you pretend you don't. But yeah, so I'm very I give it back to them pretty good. So.
Good, man. You should.
The days when you can say, hey, you know how much I pay in taxes here?
I'm getting pretty close to that because the alcohol tax in Japan is... What is it in here? 30, 40 cents a gallon or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
So it's $2.20 a liter.
Whoa.
Liter?
4 liters in a gallon, so that's $8.80 per
Wait,
gallon.
4 liters? That's not 4 liters in a gallon.
There's
2 liters in a gallon?
Yeah, I guess it's about right.
Yeah,
it's less than
Google how many liters are in a gallon. I don't know anymore.
But yeah, it's over about $8 a gallon for tax.
And your kegs are 3 gallons-ish.
Yeah, about 4... Close to, yeah. So we're 15 liters, so it's each keg is.
So you're paying like $30 in
tax
taxes
per keg. Yeah.
Wow,
that's a lot.
So when I go in there and I'm like, I do pay your salary, like really I do. So just stamp the thing and let me be on my way.
Let me do what I'm doing. Jeez. Well, that doesn't sound like a good idea. But you know what sounds like a good idea, Tasty? The Suds Dud Society.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you knew that or not. It's a brewery T-shirt membership where members receive a T-shirt, promo item, and a homebrew recipe from a different brewery each month. Small independent breweries throughout the U.S. will be chosen for excellence in the craft. A portion of each membership will go to the highlighted brewery and to sponsor a local homebrew club in their area. Join the society by going to sudsdudsociety.com and use promo code BNARMY at checkout to receive your discount. Support small beer 1 tea at a time. You know what would be cool? International craft breweries.
Oh, yeah, it would be.
For the Suds Duds thing, man.
No,
Wouldn't that be rad?
Well, they're just getting started, but I imagine they can expand to whatever. Who says it has to be national? It could be international.
Right? I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Suds Duds Society. Okay, I think what we're going to do is take... what am I doing? I'm used to, writing everything down. Now we're all digital, so now I have to, type in my name instead of scrawling it in Chicken Scratch, and I don't know what to do with that. Okay, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to be drinking some beer from Be Easy Brewing and talking a little about that, little recipe action, and maybe some sake. You never know.
Yes, we're gonna chase with the sake.
Hell yeah! All right, it's a session, everyone. Hang on, we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters.
The Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
Your support of the Brewing Network means everything to us. We couldn't produce shows without you. And we love giving you something extra for that support, like Brew Your Own magazine. You already know it's a great brewing magazine full of recipes, equipment how-tos, discussions of beer styles, and brewing techniques. Whether you're new to brewing and just starting out or you're an old pro, you'll always learn something from the articles in Brew Your Own. Plus, there are amazing special issues like plans for building a Brutus 10 system, 250 classic clone recipes, and the Homebrewer's Answer Book. Brew Your Own magazine and BYO.com are awesome resources for any brewer, whether for yourself or as a gift. When you subscribe or resubscribe from the Brewing Network homepage, you directly support programs like this. Get a great magazine and support the Brewing Network. Subscribe to Brew Your Own right from thebrewingnetwork.com. Are you looking for a simple brewing system that's great for all grain brewing, but everything on the market seems to be full of compromises? Blickman Engineering has the answer. The Blickman Brew Easy All Grain Brewing System. The Brew Easy is a complete system with easy upgrades and a beautiful compact design, perfect for any size brewing location. At its core, the Brew Easy is built on 2 gorgeous Blickman Boilermaker brew kettles, a high-temperature March pump, and either a top-tier gas burner or the new Boil Coil electric heater. The Brew Easy adapter lid allows the pots to stack on top of each other, forming an efficient, strong, and compact brewing setup that comes in 5, 10, and 20-gallon batch sizes. Upgrade your Brew Easy system with full automated control by adding a Blickman Tower of Power temp controller, and make moving around easy with the Blickman Kettle Cart. The Brew Easy is modular. If you already own a Boilermaker kettle, you can build your Brew Easy by purchasing just the modules you need. The new Brew Easy all-grain brewing system. See it today at BlickmanEngineering.com and brew with Blickman quality on your new Brew Easy.
This is Corey King from Side Project Brewing, and you're listening to The Session on the Brewing Network.
Hey, thanks for hanging out, everybody. pouring some beers here from Be Easy. Before we get to them, though, I do want to remind you all about Great Fermentations. They have the largest catalog of Blickman products on the web, and their staff is some of the best trained in the business on using their product. They offer top-notch customer service and same-day shipping on many items. Check them out, greatfermentations.com. Also, be sure to like them on Facebook at GR8Fermentation, and find them on Instagram and Twitter also at GR8Fermentation. Greatfermentations.com. All right, let me sign this thing off. So, Gareth, while you guys are out here, you're hitting up some pretty much Bay Area staples in brewing, right? You're at Anchor.
Yep.
All right, you and Ry and everybody, and Chika and Masahiro. You guys were down in some classic craft beers. Where else did you go?
We went to.
First of all, how was the Anchor tour? Had you ever been?
No. This is my first time in California. My first time on the West Coast. It took moving to Japan and opening a brewery to get me
to get over.
Get me to the California.
Yeah.
Would you like me to open this now?
I don't know. Do you guys want to open the sake now, or is it later?
There's never a bad time to open sake.
I might as well do it. How rad is that brewery, that Anchor Brewery, man?
Hey, it's cool, man. It's just the room when we went in there is just frozen in time. The tap room on the second floor is just like, oh, this is so cool. Like you can imagine 30, 40 years of people just drink in that type of atmosphere, drinking beers, and it was cool. We talked to the brewer. They have their new little pilot system that's in the building across the street and stuff.
Yeah. So for those that don't know. Anchor's team, as a part of their transformation moving forward, decided to open up a tap room. I actually interviewed the CEO, Matt Davenport, a few weeks ago, and he said they realized that, like we're an iconic brand, why aren't we growing? And they realized, one, we don't have an IPA. Well, how do you innovate an IPA? Not on that huge system. You need a smaller system and a tap room where you can interact directly with your customers. So they actually have a pretty attractive tap room with maybe 20 beers on tap. Some of them are Anchor classics, and then others are things that are in experimental stages. So it's a fun place to visit. It always was a fun place, but now it's got that added dimension, and they're thinking about opening up a rooftop tap room. Yeah,
God, they have to.
Yeah,
that'd be amazing.
It's definitely their vision is to turn it into a destination, part of beer tourism, and I think they're doing a good job.
Yeah. But it's always been more of like an antique, like you have to go and pay respect to the old people, right? But it sounds like they're trying to make it more relevant than anything, which is cool. But as long as they don't remove that history, because I mean, like you said, Gareth, go walk into that room. Even, honestly, walking up the stairs. Where the carpet, it looks like the wall, but everything's the same color, and it smells like a 70s office. Yeah, it's like, wow, this is weird.
Transitioning back into the late 70s.
I can imagine everyone in the office is like smoking, like a cigarette hanging out of the mouth, and they're just banging away at the typewriter, have to push back the action or whatever. Like that's what I imagine.
What was cool today, we went to Ground Zero for craft beer in the modern era, and then after that, we went over to Social Kitchen, where Kim has kind of pioneered this new IPA style called Brut IPA. So we saw like the beginning of craft beer, and then also the kind of the vanguard of craft beer.
That's a trip.
And then yesterday was quite a blast too. We were in the East Bay, Triple Rock. America's still like longest running brew pub. A lot of people don't know that. There's
I didn't even think I knew that.
Yeah, older brew pubs that are no longer around, but Triple Rock is the oldest still running brew pub in America.
Is that true, Tasty? I feel like you were like in your 80s when they were open.
When the law was passed, they were right there to start doing it, and I imagine they survived other guys who were there early on as well. So.
Well, you had your 80th birthday there when it opened, so I feel like
I remember it like it was yesterday.
Went to Fieldwork. Alex came to Japan last year and was well received. Those beers, so a lot of Japanese are interested in that. It's a great Bay Area brand, and went down to Rare Barrel. Also,
gotta go.
It's amazing that stretch right there. You can go to Triple Rock, to Fieldwork. Torpedo Room unfortunately closed for renovations right now. Went to Rare Barrel. And then we went to Hoi Polloi, which, if anyone's listening and hasn't heard of it, it's definitely a place that you should visit in the Bay Area. It's one of those underappreciated. What was a brew pub, but they moved their machinery off site, but it's still a great place. Golden Age hip hop and craft beer. I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
That sounds kind of right up my alley.
I've been calling that the wrong name for like 5 years.
What have you been
To hear
calling
you,
it?
you don't want to know, but to hear
No,
you
I
say
do.
that just makes me feel so stupid.
What were you calling it?
I think it was something along the lines of holy poly. Yeah.
You were almost there, Bev.
No.
And then we're capping it all off with the trip to the Hop Grenade and
But it's downhill
spot
from
on the-
wherever you were
the Brewing
yesterday. Yeah. How long you guys in town and country?
So we got in yesterday and did that, and then we did what we did today, and then we head up to Seattle tomorrow. So we fly out tomorrow. We're going to go to Seattle, go to some hop farms, and go out into.
You're bringing
Yakima
hops
stuff.
back, aren't you?
Yeah, and not just some hops. 5 of our Czech bags are going to be. It's for example, a kilogram of Centennial over there is $40. A kilogram of it up there is $13. So it's just it'll pay the hops that I figured out. It pretty much almost pays for our plane tickets to bring hops back.
Okay.
So it's just a win-win. I told them, they're like, how many suitcases do we have? None. Put everything in your backpack. We need no Czech bags. No Czech bags. We got to bring back 44-pound exactly weighed boxes of hops. Exactly back to
even if you pay for the extra bag, you're still coming out ahead.
Coming out far ahead.
You know what I mean?
20 kilo, yeah, sure. Yeah.
That's insane. That's crazy.
And that price it's not somebody gouging prices. As he mentioned, I do a little bit of raw material importing for brewers in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many costs along the way. Obviously, with hops, you got to do cold chain. You got your customs clearance, your tax, your warehousing. It just all adds up. And then you tack on even just a little bit for me to cover expenses, and you hit that $40 price point pretty quick.
Pretty
it's
easily,
expensive to brew in Japan.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Luckily, the tax is cheap. Oh, no.
No, that's not it either.
cheap at all. So
luckily, the living is easy.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's true. Yeah.
No, where I am, it's Tokyo. I could never live there. That's just exhausting. But where I am, it's just
pretty chill.
Farms and apple orchards and
snowboarding and sake.
Yeah, lots of hot springs.
Sounds pretty good.
It's lots of hot springs, lots of nature, and just chilling out up there. And
now it's got craft beer up there.
Now there is some guy that opened a craft, some stubborn ass guy opened up a craft brewery up there.
Whoever that guy is should rethink his life. Well, let's drink some of this.
Listen to the bank.
Let's get drinking.
What are we drinking first? The Czech Pils?
Yeah, so we're just regular Pils, 100% Pilsner malt and Sats hops, and just like it is here, it's the hazy IPA is what's popular over there, and
Really?
But
that disappoints me greatly.
I'm sorry to crush your dreams, but you got to have, especially in the summertime, you got to have a beer that's crushable and easy, goes down easy, and so just wanted to make standard Pils. Didn't really do much playing around. Didn't use any of the new hops or anything like that. Just traditional Czech hops. And
it's all about the malt.
Yeah, that firm bitterness, man. That's good.
Speaking of which, what malt did you use? Who's the purveyor of the malt?
This Simpson's Lager malt.
Simpson's Lager.
Yep.
Lager malt.
Yep.
There's a lager malt.
That's what Simpson's makes. That's what they call their Pilsner malt, I guess.
Oh, okay. All right. Wow.
Nice.
That's good. And I will say, so they're in growlers. First of all, these growlers are pretty dope. They look like, Bev was like, they look like beakers. Maybe like 1,000 mil or 2,000 mil beakers.
Like Aunt Jemima
But they're
with
swing
straight
tops.
sides.
Yes, it does.
Exactly right. Yeah, Aunt Jemima with no curves, just a bell curve. Yeah. They're pretty dope, and it survived the trip. I mean, she popped that top and it went. Pfft.
Yeah, it's
you don't find often with growlers.
How many hours on planes between us having to get down to Tokyo on a plane and then getting across, and they traveled quite a distance.
Good.
They sat in his fridge since yesterday, and then made their way over here today. So
is this the farthest that your beer has ever traveled? Be truthful right now, please.
Absolutely.
There we go, Tasty.
Hasn't left Japan yet, yeah? So
really?
Yep.
You're the first non-Japanese residents to drink it.
Yeah, outside of Japan, this is it.
I feel very honored.
Yeah, it's just probably... This is the first, and could be first and last, unless someone brings it with them, right?
So tell me about the water I'm drinking here. Is it snowmelt or is it
it's
well or what's
it's actually all sweat?
City water, and then the water there. It's really soft, and so I didn't want to add too much to it. Just a little.
Not to this beer.
Yeah, dash calcium in there, just a little bit, but it's nice because I pretty much have a clean slate to work with, so I can pretty much mimic any types of water that I'd like to do. So,
but it is your city water is definitely snowmelt.
Absolutely, yeah. Because
we're stars.
Yeah, we're surrounded by. We live in I can't remember the word.
A valley?
No. Well, the thing where that's surrounded by mountains, like a circle, a basin.
Caldera or something like that?
I don't know.
Like,
crater? That's not a
crater. Let's just call it a crater.
Yeah, I live in a crater.
It isn't a crater in the deep north.
It seems like very non-Japanese. It's a very non-elegant way to say something.
Yeah.
We live in a hole in the dirt.
Just in the middle of nowhere. Enjoy the beer. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's all snow melt that gets run through the city and then makes its way to us.
It's enough chemicals to get it through the line.
Exactly, yeah.
Not much.
And Masahiro here is your brewer.
Yep.
Right? And so he helped you. He made this beer. Is this his beer? Is it your beer?
I make all the recipes, and then we brew together.
Okay.
Like, it's just the two of us, and then the packaging and everything is what he does.
So how do you find help that can... Or not help, but employees who can help you do this kind of stuff.
What a great question!
How do you find good employees?
I outsourced the only finest. Actually, everybody that works at our company who has never been involved with beer in any way, shape, or form. And so the taproom staff, the chef. I mean, he was a chef before, but had no idea about craft beer. Chika's never worked in craft beer, and he used to pour concrete. And, yep.
Wow. Do me a favor, please. This might be weird, but ask him how he got into craft beer. Like, why would he come to work for you? You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. So
basically, do my job for me.
Yeah. Should I change seats? No.
Please do.
どうやってクラフトビール始めてしてた？
ギャレスんちで。
Gotta turn the mic on. There you go.
ギャレスが作ったビールを飲んで。
So some of the homebrew I made, I passed out, and
he liked it,
and he drank it and was like, "Oh, this is cool."
Okay.
And then I figured everybody could be on the same page as me. We could figure out as we went along. I just needed good people opposed to trying to find the perfect person.
Sure.
And so
because those people don't exist.
Well, they wouldn't work for you anyway.
Yeah. And
yeah,
so,
if they're perfect, right?
They're perfect.
Yeah.
And so we. From the beginning, it was just a learning experience together, and now he can easily brew on his own and everything, and from pouring concrete to
pouring beers, man,
to pouring beers.
It's a process.
And
what about Chika?
Chika, she worked at a soft serve ice cream shop, and actually the chef was from there as well. And I went in there, and I've known her for a long time.
Okay.
And the chef, I remember the first time I went there, and I ate he had some lunch special, and I was like, why the hell do you work here, man? Like,
was it really good?
Yeah, he's amazing. I was like, and that was before I even had dreams of opening a brewery. And so when I was like, man, I need a chef, I was like, got it. And then Chika's does everything like I wrote down on the memo page. And so she's on it. She distributes everything, fills out all the paperwork for the tax office. Because if I talk to them, I'll end up wanting to destroy someone. And so she handles everything, and
she's anger management.
Yeah. Right. She's the filter between me and them. And so in the year and a half we've been open, we've just I study, and what I study and take in, I just pass on to them, and in a sense, like especially like in the tap room, because we've never had experience, it works out because we only try to do it the absolute right way, instead of being like, oh, well, at my old place, we did this, or, some old tricks. But it's just like, I'm a big fan of the Cicerone program and stuff like that. And so you learn something from that, and it might be a pain in the ass to do it, but it's the right way to do it. And so I tell them, like, this is the only way we can do it. And so, all our beer glasses are clean and everything. The lines are cleaned regularly, and my staff knows about the different styles and what to recommend through it, and
they can pass it on to the customer.
Exactly.
That way, the customer leaves with not just a buzz, but leave with some value, some knowledge.
Yeah. Instead of just being like, that guy makes the beer like it's way different than Asahi. That's not going to help increase knowledge about craft beer. And so, they do it all now. Yeah, I just talk it up and
you're just
take all the credit.
Yeah, right. You just go to all the bank. It's funny because you're not the first person to come on that says, I'm not looking for people in the beer industry. I want to teach people the way I want them to do it. I don't want them to come in with preconceived notions telling me what I should be doing. This is what we're doing. But in your case, you're learning together.
Yeah, that's like the same reason that I didn't take any investors or I didn't do anything like that, because if I wanted to start making non-alcoholic beer tomorrow, then I could. Like, I just wanted to do it without
some guy in a beard and a beanie going, well, I don't really know if you should do that.
The way I brew it, like, well, that's cool, man. We all have our own ways of doing it, but like, I think we should do it this way, and it's easier.
Finding competent staff and employees in Japan is absolutely the biggest challenge of running a business in Japan. And business owners across Japan will agree with what I'm saying. There's a massive labor shortage in Japan. It's well-known news. It's not just the beer industry. Massive labor shortage. I mean, this is a society. It's one of the fastest aging societies in the world, and accomplished graduates right out of college, they're snapped up by businesses. It's so hard to find good staff, and he's done a really good job. I mean, not just Chika and Masahiro, the other staff, like he said, his chef. He's done a really good job of recruiting talent. Like people who, when you say talent, like, oh, well, like they stood out, they shine. But no, not quite like that. He just recognized people that would fit in well for his business. And I think that's one of the primary drivers of success with his business. I mean, yeah, Gareth's a smart guy. He's talented and, driven. But without your staff, you're going nowhere. Yeah. He hired the right people, and the rocket ship is, on its way. So,
wow.
Kudos to Gareth for recognizing talent that you wouldn't, normally recognize as talent. You got to look for the qualities in people.
Yeah, it seems like a Bad News Bears kind of a thing, Tasty, right? Where it's just like, oh, people who don't really know what they're doing in this industry, we're going to make them shine.
Or like a Brewing Network kind of thing. Yeah. Look at these misfits.
Well, we're not. First of all, nobody recognizes talent on this show, and the rocket ship isn't going anywhere. So
hiring is
in orbit.
Hiring is finding people with passion. That are interested in the product.
Passion, or people that are interested in working hard, and that's what it takes, right? And so,
especially in this industry.
Yeah, he worked in concrete. She worked at the ice cream shop with the chef, and the other lady worked at a printing factory, like printing. Sure. And that's my team, and I was in the military, and we the breweries.
You don't know anything about hard work in the military.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so. Look, we did the Czech Pils. Do we drink the sake now? What do we do?
Let's do the sake.
Okay. How do we do this?
So I didn't know if I poured enough or not enough.
No, that's the perfect pour.
Plenty.
Okay, I might have given Tasty a little bit too much.
Yeah, well.
I'm sorry.
That's
I'll drink like a lot less. That's all.
So sake is like a rice wine, essentially, right? Or
not
rice
a wine,
liqueur,
it's a rice beer. It's brewed
it's a beer.
More similarly to beer than it is to wine.
Okay.
So what are the fermentables?
Right?
And
rice.
Rice?
Yep.
And it's cereal. There's a cereal step that converts that starch to fermentables.
So koji, it's a mold that you sprinkle on specially prepared rice, and that mold penetrates the kernel and basically transforms those carbohydrates into fermentable sugars, and then you make a starter mash, and you add more rice, and then more rice and more rice, and till it's a big fermenting mash of sake. And then normally you'll press it to get the sake out, and then you have your sake lees, which is the rice, and then you've got the liquid is your sake. So very similar to beer. Very simple when you explain it or conceive of the process, but many variables. Many different kinds of rice, different kinds of yeasts, many different steps in it. So it's, in my opinion, as diverse as beer, but it's just a lot more subtle.
Means it has a variety of rice and yeast. Ingredients are variable. And then after that, what else? Where's your chance to be creative besides the rice and the yeast?
Or is it creativity? I mean, is it...
Oh, there's definitely creativity.
Yeah?
Okay, absolutely.
So what I saw at this place, they do the cereal thing. So they put the thing through a machine and gets the rice warmed up and opened up. But then what it seemed like, he wouldn't tell me what it was, but it went through almost like a blower. And I don't know if they softened up the rice, but then they put like a thin, hard layer on it. Or so that's what it seemed like to me. And he's like, we're the only people that do this, so that gives us... I don't know, that changed the texture of it or something like that. And he said that was unique. But this is from the day that I was there, and so I have no idea what they were doing. But
don't quote me on this. So I think I was stealing their concept.
He uses a really unusual yeast. It's like a wild horse. It's hard to rein in. But he used it and got his head around it. And whenever he tells brewers, "Oh, I use this yeast," I was like, "You're using that? That's kind of weird, man. That's weird yeast to use."
But he gets a consistent result, or he doesn't worry about consistency.
And he uses a really unusual proprietary rice. It's only aomori grown rice in most of his sake. So rice is, it's kind of like hops. Different varieties give you different characteristics. So he uses this really unusual aomori rice that nobody likes to work with because it's kind of wild. Okay. He uses this wild yeast, and he throws wild and wild together and figured out a way over time to harness the power of the yeast in the rice so that it's drinkable. Somebody else using this rice and this yeast would come up with something that's just something different, rough.
Yeah, okay.
It'd be like gasoline.
It's interesting because it smells kind of white wine-like, kind of grapey, but also like licorice, like a ouzo almost.
Yes, yeah. So
I'm getting all Greek today. That's great. I feel good.
Ouzo,
a little bit of honeysuckle in there.
Yeah.
When I went to Greece, I was introduced to ouzo, and that's
forget about it.
That's
dude.
serious stuff.
That should have messed you up.
So
that's why everyone's miserable and poor over there
from the ouzo.
So this is like the hometown sake brewery in Hirosaki. Everyone loves them. It's everywhere you go. The sake's on, and hopefully Gareth's beer at Be Easy will be the equivalent in the beer world. Everywhere you go, this is the beer that's on. But this is the local style sake. Interesting story about sake. It has a long history of interacting with the food. So different parts of different regions of Japan have different food cultures. So, if you're near the coast, you get fresh seafood. So the sake tends to be a little more delicate. Historically, food that needs to be transported into the mountains had to be salted or cured in some way. So the sake is a lot richer and kind of funkier to pair with that food. And so Aomori, this deep north area, different food culture. So this is a big-bodied, sweet sake that can go with, food that they would typically eat in the deep north, stews and things like that.
Overpowered fish or something.
Yeah, that's a trip, man. Especially here in the States. I think sake is sort of catching on a little bit. There's like a subculture of sake, but for the most part, every American's been introduced to hot sake from the box that nobody knows it's really from a box, or like even just an industrial warmer that they just go, okay, here's your little thing of sake, and you don't know what you're doing. But this is pretty good.
It's really nice.
So you can imagine drinking that with a beer, right? So in Japan, drinking sake and beer, it's not like, in America they do, what is it called? The sake bombs. That's... Man,
where you pound on the table and you look like a
knob. Grow up.
Yeah.
I guess it's fun, but
it's fun,
in Japan you can drink your beer and drink your sake with it and go back and forth, and there's places that think very carefully about that. And
they have sake and beer pairing.
Oh yeah,
really?
Actually, San Diego. There's a place called Saiko Sushi. It's right beside Coronado.
Okay.
Yeah, the Coronado's original brew pub. And the Coronado guys used to bring over craft beer. And these guys had sake, and so they started this pairing program where they would pair craft beer with sake. And they're incredibly advanced. I mean, these guys are pioneers, and you can go down. They have another location in San Diego near Modern Times as well.
Okay.
And it's an amazing sake and craft beer pairing program. It's the only one I know of in America, and it will completely change how you think about these two alcoholic beverages.
Huh.
Wow.
I mean, you have sake and it changes your approach to beer.
For sure.
And vice versa. So
I almost don't want to get into it, to be honest with you, Tasty. Because
it's dangerous.
Because I feel like also the quality of sake, or even the breadth of what we have available, would be really disappointing. We're like, maybe you have 4 or 5 things, and you're like, okay, I've had those, then you can't get any more because
a whole other set of disappointments.
Because no one's importing it, right?
If you're here in the Bay Area, you have a lot of good sake choices.
Really?
Chicago, New York, a lot of the big
cities,
metropolitan areas have good sake, but the Bay Area and New York are incredible. I mean, your sake options are greater, actually, than if you went to Gareth's place. And
he's like, hey, that's just me.
Yeah, but it's incredible. You're paying a lot.
Yeah.
But, if you want to drink sake, then you're in the right city if you're in San Francisco.
How long will it last? Is it like a whiskey or a bourbon where you don't need to flush it, or is it like
now
a
you're
wine?
getting into some really fascinating topics. You oxidize sake. It starts to age in strange ways that some brewers don't like, and some brewers do. It's just kind of like souring beer. There were brewers that like, why are we putting Brett in beer? We worked so hard for so long to keep this junk out of beer. Now we're souring it. Same thing with sake. Brewers brew the sake and they sell it to you, and they say this is how we intend you. That we intended that you drink this now fresh.
Like an IPA.
And there's people that go age it and do weird oxidation experiments with it, and it turns the sake into something sherry-like.
Huh.
And a lot of brewers say, hey, we didn't want you to do that to our sake, but you know what? It tastes pretty good. Give me some more of that.
Okay.
So that's sake. It lasts, as long as your palate wants it to last.
As long as it tastes good to you.
Brewers say you should drink it, within a few months, just like beer. And if you open it up, you've got a few weeks. Actually, the oxidation won't kill it, but the people who open it up and then close it and put it in their room temperature shelf to let it change and let the oxygen kind of work on that sake. So.
Well, that's cool. That's something you can't do with beer necessarily.
No.
You can age it and you can do whatever. But
in beer, right? You
can't open it.
You'll age it in a barrel, a wine barrel, whiskey barrel, whatever, and those barrels and all the junk in it works its effects on the beer. And sake, it's the oxygen.
Is there oak aged, barrel aged sake?
It is actually. And
is it good?
Yes, actually. I mean,
okay.
It's something that the sake industry is rediscovering. It's just like the beer industry. Everyone moved to stainless steel, and now they're saying, "Wait a minute, what did we with modernization? What did we dump that was good?" And so a lot of sake breweries. Most sake breweries moved to stainless steel, and now some of them are moving back to wood because they're discovering that wood imparts complex flavors and aromas to the sake. So it's a new thing, just like 10 years ago when Goose Island started doing what they were doing, and other breweries. It's kind of parallel to that. The sake industry is discovering what American craft breweries discovered with barrel aging 10, 15 years ago.
That's cool. Because that'd be cool maybe to do a sake in like a barrel that had beer in it or something like that, and kind of do weird stuff like that.
Because of this renaissance, there's sake going into barrels again, and now sake barrels are becoming available, and Japanese breweries, a few of them are starting to put beer back in those sake barrels so that it works on the beer. The ones that have been doing it right, in my opinion. So what I would like to do is get some barrels back to America, for example, for a rare barrel. Would that be awesome?
That'd be great. I'm sure they'd be into it too.
Yeah, so we're working on that.
Freaks. Yeah.
That's what I would love to do.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Well, let's drink this other beer. This what is this?
Pale ale, just American pale ale. Mosaic and Centennial hops, 2-1.
Wow, that aroma tasty. What do you think of that?
Smells great.
It's funny. Did you hear him? He's like pronouncing it Japanese. Mosaic. It's mosaic, dude.
My biggest worry about being on the show.
Mosaic.
Mosaic.
You need more slack jaw.
So the biggest worry about being on here today, I wasn't nervous. I was like, man, my pronunciation for stuff is just so...
Because I don't hear it from much.
No, I don't.
Not around people that say it.
But every once in a while, when you have your pointed vowels, you sound very Philly.
Oh, okay. But then when I'm speaking about hops, American hops, I'm speaking
Mosaic.
So I talk with him, and so we don't. And I don't know how it was originally pronounced. I'm just like, I'm speaking in Japanese, and when I have to say it in English, I'm like, let's kind of fudge it back into the
some mosaic.
Yeah,
mosaic.
If anybody was wondering, it's pronounced mosaic. But mosaic hops, Centennial 2-1. The Centennial's less, and at 15 minutes Whirlpool, and then a really light dry hop, nothing special.
So this is called Debbie's Pale Ale?
Yeah, Debbie's Pale Ale.
Can you tell us about Debbie?
So,
is that cool?
Yeah, so, deciding to charge forward and build a brewery all by myself, dates start to really just don't mean anything. Like, I'll open today. No, I was just kidding. 6 months from now, just kidding.
Sure.
Like before the Tokyo Olympics, and so it's just chaos. I'm at my wits' end. I should have given this up a long time ago. And then the first day we could actually brew, because somebody didn't wire things the right way, and because somebody didn't do it. Run the 3-phase the right way. I don't know who that somebody was.
Some amateur electrician.
That guy, I'll never hire him again.
Yeah.
But,
Don't want him.
It was cheap. It was really cheap. Surprisingly enough, if you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so, made it through the brew day. It was completely miserable. It was a long day. It was like 15 hours. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And then I went home and I was like, oh man, what did I get myself into? And I realized it was my mom's birthday.
And screwed up twice.
Yeah, exactly. That was the bigger screw up. And so all of my beers I name after the local dialect. And so people in Tokyo have no idea what my beer's names mean, but when they order it, they have to speak the local dialect. So I just it's kind of like a shout out to where we live.
There you go.
But because it was made on my mom's birthday, I was like, oh, come on, man, it's got to be Debbie's Pale Ale. Like there's no other option. And so that's how the name came about. And,
cool. That's pretty awesome. So, is it weird, like hearing your mom's name with like a Japanese accent? Is it something that people understand?
It's actually, when you say it in Japanese, it's actually pretty similar. Chika, Debbie's shabete mite.
Debbie's.
One more time.
Debbie's.
One more time.
Debbie's.
Kind of sound.
Debbie's.
Yeah.
Now say Larry Parallelogram.
Okay, so okay. So the point is it gets across.
Yeah. They get it.
Yeah, it's all about ordering.
Did you tell your mom, like, hey, there's people in Tokyo saying your name like 5 times a day?
Unfortunately,
and was she stoked?
Yeah, unfortunately, my mom has FTD. It's a special kind of dementia for early. It's early onset, so she's 54. So she doesn't even know I have a brewery. She doesn't know any of that stuff. Unfortunately,
sorry,
right?
Man, that's too bad.
It'd be awesome if she knew that her beer was just running rampant around Japan.
Yeah, for sure.
She would have got a kick out of it. But my sisters, they make up for it. They enjoy it.
There you go,
They
dude.
love it. They love the fact that mom's got a beer. So
tell us about your sisters, because like I posted something on social media. And your sisters clearly love you. I saw it reshared. It's like, oh my God, I'm so proud of my brother. And
yeah, I guess since I just kind of blazed my own path. I left home when I was 18, and I was in the bomb squad, and then I played an instrument. Then I get on TV shows, and then I open a brewery, and so.
Where's this guy going?
Yeah, really,
It's not like us.
He's opening a disco
He's his
next.
own star.
And so they actually got to the point where they'd be telling people about me, and they'd be like, you don't have to lie for your brother. He's probably, homeless. And they're like, no, really? And they're like, this guy does. And so, they just love it every time we do. They're probably listening right now. Every time we do something, they're just as supportive as they can be, being a whole half the world away kind of thing. But yeah, they love it, man. They love hearing what I'm doing, and it doesn't surprise them anymore. Like, I did this, and they're like, oh, okay. Like,
now you can tell me you're on the Brewing Network.
Yeah.
And they'll be like,
yeah. So I went to
Arby's. Can't make up any stories anymore, huh?
Exactly.
Gareth? That's fine.
Well, cheers to Debbie and Debbie's daughter.
Cheers, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Man,
so what's the next step? Man, you've conquered everything, every challenge. You got a brewery. Now what?
Yeah. Now what? I'm having a lot of fun doing what we're doing now. I have no intention of ever growing out of the building that we have. I like the fact that we're always sold out of beer. Like, if that's what all my customers complain about until the day I'm done, like, that's fine. Like, I want to maybe open up a tap room near where the military base is on the other side of where we live, but just keep making beer. Try to find a few more pieces to the employees, for a few more people that'll be willing and wanting to do what we're doing, and just keep spreading craft beer in the upper half of Japan.
Yeah.
And if there's any brewers in Japan that are around my area that come up and have questions or anything, I'd love for more places other than me to just start brewing up there and in cities near me, and just get it.
You want to see the thing thrive, man. Yeah, for sure.
Who doesn't? Like, it's we all win. The more good beer there is.
The more the bigger the scene, the more the scene, the bigger the scene.
Yeah, it's just we all. There'll be some day where it's like the word beer equals Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Like I'm going to grab a beer, and that's instead of ultralight somethings. It's that's what beer means. And if we ever get to that point, that'd be pretty fantastic. Yeah,
that'd be great. Let me try this sake with this pale ale. Have you done this yet, Tasty?
I did with another beer.
Are you wasted?
No, I'm not wasted.
He's like Tom Cruise in Last Samurai. Sake!
The sake is so clean and drinkable.
That's a really
doesn't
nice
get in the way
sake.
at all.
It's such a nice sake.
I'm doing it right now. That's a trip, man.
What's the ABV on the sake?
Probably
17%.
17.
Okay, good. Because obviously I don't speak Japanese or read Japanese, but I saw like a 60% and like a 55. Oh, you're going to pour for you? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you do it in Japan.
Is this how you do it in Japan? Let me see.
Like somebody's got to pour for the other dude.
Is it that?
Right over this soundboard thing.
It's not mine. I don't give a shit.
So I think the 60, he knows better, but the 60-40% is the type of rice that they're using, like maybe white rice and brown rice.
Because I looked at it, I was like 60%, I'm fucked. I'm going to live here now and start my own brewery underneath the desk because I'm not going home anytime soon.
So, no, this is just the milling rate. So in sake, the outside of the kernels of rice have fats and proteins that create all flavors. And the sake, so what you want to do is mill that away so you just have the carbohydrates. But obviously, the more you mill away, the more expensive it gets. So this has been milled to a fairly surprising level. So they milled away 40% for just the main bulk of the grain, and the koji has been milled away 45%. So they milled away almost half of the shell to create the koji, which is what you use for the starter mash, and then they start doing rice additions, and they milled that down to 60. So this is a pretty
recipe.
Refined.
Yeah. But but it's essentially their mash recipe, like you put on a bottle of beer.
Exactly, like what malt we used.
That's cool.
So the rice, it's the process for brewing. It's not a dry rice.
It's not table rice. So one of the interesting things is when the rice that we eat tastes really good because it has proteins and fats in it. So table rice, stuff that you eat, you want that. But when you're brewing with it, you don't want it. And it's just really nasty when you got high fat, high protein rice. Rain, a lot of rain will create, just like with malt. You don't want a lot of rain. It will create too many proteins. So farmers will kind of manipulate their growing techniques to create rice that is low in protein and fats and has these massive kernels of carbohydrate inside. So
that's crazy.
And obviously different rice strains have different characteristics.
Sounds so difficult. I could never brew this.
No, there's no way.
Sake brewing is rough. I have total respect for breweries that still do sake. And actually, 1/5 of all Japanese craft beer breweries still do sake. They were originally sake breweries. So Kiyuchi, who does Hitachi no Nest, and a lot of great breweries.
They do
they've been doing sake for generations, and they learned a lot about sanitation and those kinds of things. So naturally, when the beer laws changed about a little more than 20 years ago, we're jumping into that, and sure enough, those are the guys doing pretty good beer as well.
That's dope.
And equipment-wise, that wasn't necessarily an easy transition. It's different equipment, right?
Yeah, different equipment, but they understood the process because sake brewing is definitely more similar to beer than wine. So everyone calls it rice wine, but it's not really. It's just because it has those qualities of white wine, mostly.
Oh, yeah.
But sake is beer. It really is. It's rice beer.
Well, and it really works with that pale ale because the pale ale is sweet. The bitterness comes through, but it doesn't dominate. The malt kind of comes through, and then you have the sweet, like you're saying, right? The honeysuckle, all those flavors really work well together.
Yeah.
I want them to be in the same glass.
What's that specialty malt in the pale ale?
So it's we use Simpson's Golden Promise, and then wheat and a dash of Munich malt.
Munich malt.
Yep.
Masahiro, good job. That's good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
He's hurting over there because we did a good number on him last night.
Yeah, you wrecked him?
Yeah.
We wrecked each other last night. It was pretty.
We were responsible for a good distance. We were being responsible adults there for a while.
Well,
and
what's
then,
the fun in that, man?
And then it just stopped being responsible.
What ruined you guys? What was like because everyone
so
after night there's a thing.
Legal now, and we went to a legal marijuana shop and we got some stuff.
Okay.
And like a
all right.
Like a mouth spray. Like they said, this is on sale for like $7. It's like like
it's like a Banaka.
A breath spray, right?
Yeah.
And it was like. It's not working.
Oh, you dummy!
You would have loved it, Tasty. I'm sitting in the back seat.
I should have been with you guys.
Rookie mistake.
I would say slow your roll here, guys.
No, really, he was up there and he shoots it 3 times. It says one spray is 2 milligrams. He shoots it 3 times and he's like, 2 minutes later, this is not getting it in. And I'm just sitting in the back seat like, maybe give it more than 30 seconds. He's like, and he was like, nope, not working. Shouldn't have bought it. Not working. Lo and behold, like after we got done eating dinner, he was just like.
Bobby G's drinking Pliny the Elder, right? And I'm going, things are going fractal on.
So, one spray gets it in, surprisingly enough.
What about Chika and
taking that
Masahiro?
spray, right? And you spray it into your Pliny the Elder, right? You gotta.
Oh man!
I think Masahiro's problem was
something.
I think Masahiro's problem was he didn't sleep at all on the plane.
No,
at all. He was like, nope, don't want to sleep. And we're like, you need to go to sleep. He's like, nah, got it. And then we get off the plane. We have some coffee. He drives us around the mountains, like drift racing around the mountains.
It was like the Berkeley Hills, right?
Right.
Like, this is fun, this road.
Look, check out the view of San Fran, check out the bay. And then we park. We go to Triple Rock, and all 3 of us, I was like, I'm going to the bathroom to puke. This is before we started drinking, so I puke up coffee.
Yeah.
And then they're like, smart. They're like, yep, I need to go. And so we're all vomiting at like 10 in the morning from his driving. And that's how we started the day. So by the end of the day, I'm surprised we made it anywhere because we started out by puking up coffee and then started to drink.
But you feel better.
No, I felt like
great.
I was like, man, how am I going to make it through the day? And I cleaned out house, and I was like, yep. Let's go. Start fist pumping right through San Francisco.
Get that poison up with some new poison in.
So is there a big weed culture in Japan, or is it?
Nah, Japan is
pretty hard.
It's pretty straight laced.
Iron gates, man.
People smoke and grow.
Yeah.
It's super legal. You get busted for that, you're in trouble.
Really?
You're gonna go
big time
to prison for more. You're gonna go to prison longer than more heinous crimes. Like it's bad.
It's pretty bad.
So it's not. You can't. It's not for me. It's not even worth pretending. Like I could probably find it, but it's like. It's going to cost me a lot more than it's worth.
For sure. So Chika and Masahiro, they don't smoke weed. Have they ever experienced?
Nope.
Did they do it?
They did not totally approve.
Okay.
They gave it a shot. They gave it a whirl.
Did they really?
Yeah, they gave it a whirl.
Did they like it? Did you guys like it? Did they like it?
どうだった？昨日のチョコレート。
全然何もなかったです。
So she like didn't get high, it's like fuck, you bring somebody to Bay Area and to get like this is your one chance to get high. And it didn't work, so.
All right.
He was I don't know. I think it was a mixture of that, drinking too much, not sleeping.
He looks like he's high right now.
今でもなんか聞いてる感じするんだよ。And so I think
he's looking at you like, maybe
first time in a foreign country, so I think it was just.
Too much
raw emotion, and he just hit a peak, and so
to use this as a segue back into responsible conversation.
Oh yes, please.
Like
this is what we're all about.
So I was out at World Beer Cup.
Yeah.
I was a World Beer Cup judge, and one of my table captains was Keith Villa, who launched Blue Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, and I've known Keith over the years. Like, so what are you doing, man? He's like, so I retired, and the next day I launched a marijuana beer business. I said, what? And so. Like everyone dumps on Blue Moon, but Keith knows his stuff. I mean, he's a really smart guy. He understands the business, and the very next day he retires from. It might not have been the very next day, but he starts this business, and he says we found a way to infuse beer with marijuana, and I believe it's no alcohol. But it was very cool. I've heard about this, like years ago. I've been to breweries that have been infusing their beer with marijuana, and you just drink it and you pass out after one pint. So he said, we found this. We developed these techniques for infusing beer with THC, and it's great. We've got like a Pilsner with like 2 milligrams, and we got a Pale Ale with 4, and we got like an Imperial with like 12. And it was very fascinating. I mean, but it's non-alcohol, and apparently it tastes like beer.
So it's almost like, sorry, I'm going to cut you off, but it's almost like they're using the THC to replace the alcohol.
Yeah.
So you drink a beer and you get buzzed, but you don't really get buzzed, you get high.
Yeah. So, but he articulated this so well. He said, you know, when you drink alcohol,
better than them Johns
said. When you drink beer, you get drunk, and it's a different. You know, you get drunk and it does wild things to different people.
Yes,
but with the beer he created, he says it's a sensation. It like seeps into you. So it's like alcohol goes to your head. Yeah, you feel it in your body. But he says when you drink this, it's like we've developed it in a way where it's like a bodily sensation.
Okay,
I was like, that sounds awesome.
That sounds like different. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
sounds like what Masahiro needs right now. Yeah.
But, you know, is this the future of beer or not? I don't know.
I don't know. That's hard to. Smarter people than me have tried to figure that one out, man. I don't know. I know there's a lot of breweries getting into that shit. I think Miller Coors has a thing going on too. Yeah,
made a big investment in a Canadian company.
Yeah,
you know, it's happening. It's going to happen a lot.
Whether you want it to be or not. Yeah. That's craziness, man. That's really weird. Should we take a break, Tasty? I think we should take a break. It's been a while, huh?
Yeah, I think we should.
All right.
Come back and do a wrap-up.
We'll do a wrap-up. Maybe
beer news, maybe, huh?
Have a little beer news, which I think these guys can help us talk about. I do want to talk a little bit about beer laws in Japan, too, and kind of how that's all changing.
You know, I'd love to talk a little bit more about World Beer Cup.
Okay.
That'd be cool. A fascinating experience as a judge. I've been doing it, you know, for years, but... You know,
that'd be dope. I hated doing homebrewing judging because the sheets I don't want to write. I just want to tell you like circled yes or no or whatever. But I hate like the long form to style. Well, it isn't really to style, and this is what I don't want to do that. So I feel like professional judging would be much better.
It's a very important part of it, actually. You know, because
like paragraphs. You're not writing paragraphs, right? Or it's just like.
So this was the first digital year.
See, this is what I'm like on the cusp of millennial. My millennial's rising, so I think I could do that. Right?
They did digital.
So they had an app for this.
Everyone was welcome to bring their iPads and their phones and everything, and we did judging on our iPads actually.
Okay.
It used to be disallowed. If you pulled it out, you were thrown out of the judging.
Right.
Really? Now it's like part of the tool. Wow.
So I could do that. Here, let me... oh, dude, I didn't even load the stupid break. That's how...
So we're going to drink some sake during the break?
Sake bomb all the way. Here's a live read for our friend here. Neshaminy Creek Brewing has been on the Philly beer map scene since 2012. Just recently took home a bunch of Johns, including their 4th Philly Beer Scene Magazine Award for Brewery of the Year, 2014 to 2017. And their 3rd award for Brewery of the Year. 2-time GABF Vienna-style lager medal winner for 13 and 16. Also, they won a bronze for their smoked lager in 2016 as well. They have a large, expanded, and recently renovated tap room with 24 Johns on John, 18 of which are rotating and seasonal limited Johns. A variety of beer styles from hoppy double Johns to sessionable and poundable Johns to oak fermented saisons and sour Johns. Free brewery tours on Johns. Check out NeshaminyCreekBrewing.John. All right, we're gonna we're gonna come back. Apologies to Jeremy, but I'm sure he's laughing about it too. We're gonna be right back. We're gonna do a little beer news and drink a little more sake, and I don't know, see what else happened. It's the session. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters.
On the Brewing Network.
Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and freshest ingredients and the best customer service in the business. Check out their brand new patent-pending mash and boil 110-volt electric mashing and boiling unit. This compact all-stainless unit lets you mash, sparge, and boil just about anywhere that has a 110-volt plug. Double-wall construction adds to efficiency and safety, and a precise thermostat keeps temperatures where you want them. Unlike insulated buckets and converted coolers, multiple temperature rest mashing is easy to do, all for under $300. They also feature the Mark II work pump, a magnetic drive high-temperature pump that does the work of pumps that cost twice as much, as well as exclusive Brewer's Edge regulators and quality Keg King kegs and disconnects. Check them out today at williamsbrewing.com to brews their vast selection.
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters. This is Jamel Zanishev, and I want to tell you about Heretic Evil Twin. You might be familiar with my homebrew recipe, which uses massive late hopping to create a balance between the malty sweet and the hoppy bitter, along with an outrageous malt and hop character. I wanted a beer with the same bold hop and malt character, so we played around with the homebrew recipe until we were able to make a great commercial version too. We've created a beer rich in malt character, full of caramel, toast, biscuit, and an ever so subtle roast note. On top of that, we piled in an insane amount of Citra and Columbus hops at the end of the boil, as well as in dry hopping. This damn-the-cost approach to hopping gives Heretic's Evil Twin a great blast of citrus and tropical fruit that can't be matched by any other hop. The result is a bold, malty, hoppy, but easy-drinking beer. This is our top seller, our flagship beer, and I couldn't be prouder of it. Cheers.
To find Heretic beers near you, click on Find Some at hereticbrewing.com.
Brewcasters are back. 888-401-BEER.
Whatever.
All right, thanks for sticking around, everybody. We're going to get back to beer drinking here in just a second, but
I haven't stopped.
I do want to let you guys know the Branding Brews podcast is a deep inside look at everything that revolves around branding and marketing a brewery. Branding Brews interviews industry professionals covering in-depth strategies, and topics like labels, packaging, websites, social media content, trademark, marketing, plus much more. Whether you're in sales and marketing, you own a brewery, or you're looking to start a brewery, Branding Brews is a podcast for you. Go to brandingbrews.com or subscribe to the show wherever you like to get your podcast. And I will say, there's so many social media for breweries is terrible. It's terrible. People want to know your story. People want to know about you. They don't want to know what your menu specials are for the day. Sorry. That's just my view on it. Gareth, what's your social media strategy?
I don't know. Let's put up menu special pictures and no. I try to keep a balance between like what we're brewing, what we're doing on a day-to-day basis.
That's what people want to know.
Yeah, when we're out
what are you doing right now?
Yeah, when we're out on the farm, we take pictures of us out on the farm and stuff like that. And so
that's why you got a farm too.
Yeah. So
what are you doing?
I don't know. It just seemed like another good idea, and so
somebody told you couldn't do it, huh?
Yeah. Well, actually, Tasty, someone. So what we do is we're getting rid of the spent grain, right? And it costs money to get rid of it, and lost a lot of money. And so I was like, you know what? I bet. And what we did at first is I have a pretty big yard, and we were dumping it in the back corner of my yard.
But the rest started like that.
And well, my wife wasn't a big fan. But what I noticed is like the grass would grow 3 inches, but then the circumference of the spent grain was growing like 12 inches. And I was well, this has to have some nutrients and stuff in it. And so we found a good deal on about an acre sized plot of land, and none of us have ever farmed. And
why would you?
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? We're going to put this spent grain down as fertilizer, and we're going to grow crops for our tap room. Mm-hmm. And we're going to try to, as much as we can, grow what we can. And everyone was like, "That spent grain's not going to do anything. You guys can't farm. You've never farmed." And I was like, all right then, there it is. Be Easy Farms, blast away. And this is our second year doing it. And we last year just shooting from the hip, and we had more crops than we knew what to do with. Like we couldn't give away all the stuff we couldn't use. We were trying to pickle stuff. We were just trying to do what we could, and we don't use any fertilizer. It's all organic. I mean, we're not certified or whatever because I don't want to pay for it, but we don't. No chemicals, no fertilizers. We just throw spent grain down and seeds in the dirt and have a pretty operational farm. And so
should make it like a community farm where you just like supply the place and people can like mark off like 10 square feet or whatever.
Hey, I've got the spent grain for you to grow.
No,
grow whatever you want to grow. Yeah, just fire away at
a
it.
lot of value is the backstory, I think.
That's pretty crazy. You don't have to process it or anything. You just kind of throw it out there.
It hadn't been used for like 10 years, and everyone told us we had to, I guess, sterilize the dirt and then do this and that. And I was like, I don't know.
Sterilize it?
I don't know. People have been farming for thousands of years. So
Without sterilization of the dirt?
Exactly.
Yeah, man,
And I think we're lucky because we just supply the tap room, and so if the tomato is not perfectly round and this degree of red,
cut that off.
Exactly. Like, or if a bird pecked away at it, just slice it off and use the rest for pizza sauce. And so it's working. It
seems to be fine.
It seems to be working out. Like,
right.
Excellent.
And who did you get to do all your farming? Like some guy in IT?
No, we all do it. We once a week we go out there.
Oh, we got to go pick lettuce today.
Yeah. We
like, God damn it! I hate lettuce.
Every day we pick it.
I hate lettuce picking day. It's the worst.
And so it's near my house. So usually I walk the dog in the morning, and I'll go down there and whatever is ripe, I'll pick and then take to the tap room. But once a week we all head out there for 2-3 hours and slam it out, get it done, pick the weeds, get stuff, replant seeds if they need to be planted, and then we go to a hot spring, relax, chill out, clean off, grab lunch, and then that's usually the day. Like, we'll just call it at this. And so
farming.
Sounds pretty good, Bev, huh? You want to farm? You want to move to Japan and be farmers?
That sounds amazing. Yeah.
Doesn't it?
I mean, I'm sure when I got in there and was like picking, I'd be like, this is terrible.
It sounded so much better than what it is.
Serious. Sounds great.
Imagine being rewarded for hard work. What are we drinking right now? We have a cloudy beer, a hazy beer in our glass.
So,
what is this?
When Gareth and team came to San Francisco, I don't remember how we got on this conversation. Just new beer trends, and we talked a lot about Northeast IPAs. They're big in Japan. It's funny, actually, the first time I was on this show a few years ago, we were all joking in here, like, the Northeast, like the Eastern Coast, they don't make anything good on the IPA level. Can you name one beer that they make that's good
right.
IPA? Because like West Coast IPAs were dominating.
Oh, yeah.
Sure enough, like a year and a half later, this Northeast IPA trend starts. And now it's easy to name good beers. And so now there's a counter trend from the...
Oh, the brew thing.
Yeah, now there's a people reacting to the Northeast IPA. So Kim, head brewer at Social Kitten, yes, Social Kitten.
Social Kitten.
Yeah, Social Kitchen.
Ry's been hitting that spray.
Yeah.
Flashing that Banaka.
This doesn't work.
It's still not working.
Where's that spray, by the way?
We don't need that spray.
Started this thing called Brute IPAs, and I guess it's about 6 months old. It's could you talk about tasty?
Well, I can talk a little bit about it. I can add on to that. Yeah, it's about 7 months. I would say like 6 or 7 months. It's relatively new. Yeah, it's just hitting a lot of people saw it on social media, and it traveled really fast. I would say within 2 months of him describing this, I think I saw like 32 Bay Area breweries had one on tap. It really took off around here.
So, brut means dry.
Yeah.
In the Champagne world. So it's a dry IPA, very different than the Northeast IPAs. They use what's the chemical?
An enzyme, right?
An enzyme.
To crush it down,
Analyze. Yeah. To completely ferment it out so that it's very dry.
It takes all the long chain sugars and clips them into little ones, which the yeast can just eat.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yours
had
finished at 0 or 0.0 or negative, a little bit maybe sometimes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's in the the Laughing Monk and Triple Voodoo did a collaboration brewed IPA recently. I saw went to my local bottle shop and said, what is this brewed IPA thing? And I saw that can. I took it home. It was really good, really refreshing. It wasn't just that it was dry and pale and had kind of low effervescence, but they had actually altered. They had kind of thought about how do we make a champagne-like beer, and they, the hops that were used in that beer were champagne-like as well. So there's been a lot of thought put into this. How do we create a beer that's not just dry but champagne-like? And so far, the ones that we've had since coming here, because they want to drink what's on the cutting edge, and so we went out looking for some brewed IPAs. We found them, not just the Laughing Monk one. We went over to Social Kitchen to get this growler that we're sharing today, but that's kind of like the new direction in IPAs right now, at least in the San Francisco Bay Area. And it is started.
I don't know what
for sure.
I don't know what percent of any. I don't see. If I walked into to my what I call my average multi-tap, which is a good multi-tap, and they always have a good selection of beers, I may or may not see one.
Mm-hmm.
So it hasn't really it's popular probably over your own taps, but I haven't seen a lot yet out in the market.
Mm. So. But they're good. I mean, it's a nice expression, a different expression of the IPA.
It is definitely different. Is it growing in Japan? Is it a thing that's catching on?
They heard about it and wanted to. So word of it has traveled to Japan. They heard about it.
Sure.
There are at least 2 other breweries that contacted me, curious about what's this brew IPA thing. Mm-hmm. And we're going to feature it in the next Japan Beer Times magazine that I produce.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, there's this new trend. We'll see where it goes from there. One thing we talked about earlier. It's a bone dry IPA, and Lester Kogo over at Bear Bottle a few months ago, or it might have actually been last year, did a sake beer hybrid where he took sake lees from Sequoia. It's a sake brewery in San Francisco. Actually, they're pretty good. He took lees with the yeast, still alive, and he pitched that. And sake yeast can be very dry. And it can ferment at pretty high alcohol.
Yeah, it has to be highly tolerant. Yeah, so, 16, 18, 20%.
This fermented completely out, bone dry. Those were the words of Lester. Was like, it's bone dry, and it's called Half Samurai. It's a great
that is pretty good. Yeah,
for a beer. And there's still a lot to be done in this trend of brewed IPAs. I think using sake yeast in a brewed IPA could work out very well.
Yeah, for sure.
With if you want a bone dry IPA and you use a sake yeast that ferments out and creates a bone dry beer, man.
Well, especially with some of those floral notes like this sake here, that would be great.
And he uses that weird like wild horse sake too. So there's a lot of experimentation.
That's exciting.
That's that could happen in this sub trend.
What do you think, Gareth? Are you going to brew some of this?
Yeah, I'm going to.
You going to make Masahiro do it?
Masahiro it is. We're no more New England IPAs. It's brewed IPAs all day. Well, I've been the sake brewery. They're really, really great guys. He was so excited when I opened, and for our 1-year anniversary, I went to their place and brewed. We brewed sake together, and I remember asking do you mind if I ever just come over with a bucket and snag some of the yeast off you? And he's like, yeah, so there's infinite possibilities for me to work with sake yeast and with the sake brewery, and so it's a wide open palette. And
the first beer you do, it's got to be called "Give Me Them Johns."
Give me them John, the Japan John. I'll call it JJ IPA.
Gets in these Japan Johns. It's an interesting style for me. I think it smells great. I'm not super into it. Why? I don't know.
It's got
it's kind of thin,
a little lemon character in the because it's sort of like it's so dried out. I can see these being fruited and with small amounts of fruit to be represented.
You actually, I think, out in your fridge,
it's probably
there's some that Laughing Monk Triple Voodoo can. I think you guys got it out there. I mean. Yeah. I'll treat you guys. Seriously, I got a wallet and a credit card. Let me get you guys that beer. I mean, let's taste some different brewed IPAs. No, let's not do that on the show.
I don't necessarily know if I want to do that. Do you want to do that, T?
Not really.
Yeah.
It's really good.
We'd have to stop, and you have to get up, and where do you go? And we're going to start a new topic.
We're wrapping up now.
We can do some beer news while you're going to get that or something.
IPAs in general, to me, I'm not really into. But if you guys want to have a taste around, we've already been going for a little bit. I don't know. I don't care. Whatever you want to do. You guys are the guests. If you want to do that, do it.
We can talk about that all the time. Let's talk about Japan. We got Gareth. As I said, when we originally invited him, I said, "Hey, you guys ought to have Gareth on the show." Like, yeah, let's invite him. And Gareth said, "If I'm going to be on the show, man, I'm going to fly over there." I'm not going to do this. Right. Yes. So not only did Gareth fly over here, he brought 2 of his staff. That's pretty cool. We've got him here.
originally was like, yeah, they'll Skype you in. I was like, nah. Nope. It didn't even cross my mind. I was like, nah, heading out. And then I was like, going to America to be on the radio. You guys want to come? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, train's leaving. Here we go.
So your first time in California, as you said.
Yep.
I mean, give us some of your impressions. You come here.
What do you think of the beer scene out here?
Oh, it's amazing. It's just
it's like traveling forward in time.
Are you getting ideas? Are you going to come back and you and Masahiro going to collaborate on some Johns?
There's so many beers I've tried, so many good beers I've tried, and I ran into so many good people. I talked with Barry and John, the head brewer at Fieldworks, and I talked with them and it's just, and Kim was awesome. He's
Kim,
just
Kim
like
over at Social Kitchen.
What do you want to know?
People have been very generous with their knowledge.
Okay,
and so
good.
And it's cool, and like it's all as new for me as it is for them, man. Like, I kind of get this whole the Bay Area quote unquote thing. I was like, this is a pretty cool place to live. Like, it's nothing like where I grew up in the States, or where I lived in Florida or New Mexico. So
it's not bad. I read a thing where in Contra Costa County, where we are, you're considered low income if you, as a family of four, make $89,000.
Yep, that's pretty good living.
In San Francisco, you're considered low income if you, a family of four, make $117,000. I was like, so it's very expensive to live out here for sure, but we do have a cool beer scene and a great food scene. And it's a shame you guys have to leave and
so quickly,
and go home, or at least go to Seattle so soon. That's too bad, but because there's a lot to do. You can't do it all in a day or 2 days. But you've hit
the
spots. You've hit the good.
We got
some
off
of the good
plane.
spots.
Yeah, we got off the plane just charging forward, and but I don't think this will any excuse I can make to bring my staff here or check stuff out. I mean, they've never really left the city they're in, and so now it just changes their perspective.
Yeah.
Like, they'll go back there, I think, even if they didn't learn anything from beer here necessarily, they'll come back with a different mindset and like, the world's bigger than what we actually know, kind of thing.
They're going to fly out to the middle of Alaska and open a brewery now.
Yeah.
Just to be like, well,
they're all going to leave me.
They're going to leave you, dude. They're
standing there on my farm alone.
You know what will never leave you is the Vault for Homebrewers, which is White Lab's collection of specialty one-of-kind strains where you're able to pre-order and decide which strains are released to homebrewers. White Labs has added 20 new specialty strains into the vault right now, with other strains to be added throughout the year. All you have to do is visit whitelabs.com/thevault and place a pre-order on the strain you'd like to use. Once it reaches 150 orders, White Labs will release the yeast and ship it directly to your doorstep. If you want access to any vault strains as a professional brewer, you can place a minimum order of 1.5 liters through the yeastman.com site, and you'll get access to their unique specialty strains as well. Big thank you to whitelabs.com. Before the show started, Gareth, we were talking about just Japan and beer law and what the definition of beer is. And I thought that was really interesting, if you want to speak on that a little bit, about what is beer, what is craft beer? Is it the same kind of argument we're having here in the States, whereas independent versus craft versus just general beer? What's going on over there?
So you got the battles going on here in America, but the good thing is that you have the Brewers Association, which actually fights the battle instead of just letting the man walk all over it. Whereas over in Japan, so my take on things is you used to have to brew an insane amount of quote-unquote beer to open a brewery. Like, it's like opening a bank almost. Okay. And then they changed the laws and they created this thing, and it's called Happoshu. And what it is beer is made by the German purity law. So it's, malt, hops, water, yeast. And then Happoshu is when you make beer with anything else in it. So, if you think about that, the majority of craft beer in America would be it wouldn't be considered beer, right? Like Dogfish Head, they don't make beer, according to Japan, right? But you only had to do a very small minimum, and you could open it up. And I think at that time, the big beer companies thought, like, we'll let the little kids have their fun, but it'll never take off. And
sure.
It kind of did, but then it didn't. And now craft beer comes around, and it's a very different animal, and it's just taking Japan by force. And so they recently changed the laws to where you can brew beer with certain ingredients, the specific ingredients, and surprisingly enough, they fall directly into the big beer companies that make quasi-craft beer. Yeah, exactly. So, like, there's a thing called, Bonito Flakes that the Japanese uses, and there's a beer made with that. Only by, I don't think any regular craft beer uses it, but it's made by the big company. Okay. And so in the new laws, it's like, you can use Bonito. It's like, how specific can you? It's not like adjuncts or this or that.
It's like saying, if you want to Put an orange slice on your wit beer, we'll give you a tax break.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that with the laws that they changed, big beer gets a tax break and small beer didn't get it. But in order for big beer to be able to get that tax break, they had to have the laws changed to be able to put the Bonita flakes in there. And so that happened, and then the laws changed to where if you want to make quote-unquote craft beer, you have to add 20% to your fermentable bill of something that's not malt. So if I wanted to make a West Coast IPA, I'd have to put, if I use 100 kilograms of malt, I'd have to put 20 kilograms of something, XYZ.
Not malt.
No, not malt.
Rice or bonito flakes or whatever.
Yeah,
fruit or something.
Something.
To
anything.
call it craft beer?
No, to call it to call it happoshu, which is not technically beer, but it is.
Okay.
And so they did a really good job of wrapping it up. Like they're like, nope, can't have any more of this.
I think one of the important points of that is to get a beer brewing license, you have to prove that you can brew 60 kiloliters a year, and the happoshu license was 6 kiloliters a year. So, it's not a lot of beer. So if you're a small brew pub, you're like, oh, I'm going for the happoshu license, and the government's now made it difficult to make a happoshu beer, meaning that it's going to stunt the growth of small brew pubs because
very effectively
that's what's eating away the market share of the big breweries.
So if you want to open a brewery, you have to brew more. You have to intend on brewing more per year in order to be a craft brewer license.
Like if I'm going to open up a brewery, I'm going to get the beer license because I'm not going to brew like beers with 20% of whatever stuff thrown into it. But you have to brew 60 kiloliters, and that's a lot. You have to. You can't do a brew pub.
There's no in between.
You got to be a factory. You got to be.
I mean, they've brought the hammer down on brew pubs.
What's 60 kiloliters?
60K.
60 hectoliters, so 60,000 liters. So times that imperial, it's a lot of beer.
6 kiloliters a year. That's 6,000 liters a year divided by 12. That's 500 liters a month. And if you think about a 20-liter keg, which is a 6-still,
so what was the gross number? 60K.
So 500 liters a month.
No, what was the total requirement for the minimum?
6 for
to be a brewery.
60.
60 if you want to do beer.
60,000 liters.
60,000 liters. Liters. Okay.
So it used to be like you just had to do 6. So that's 500 liters of beer a month. 500 liters. That's not a lot. I mean, like for a brew pub, so 500 liters, 20-liter kegs of 6. Is that right?
Yeah, 20 liters.
So if you don't want to be the happoshu, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to be a craft brewer. You can't. I mean, you can't effectively, right?
You have to sell beer and distribute.
Yeah.
Or if you want to be a brew pub, you're going to have to make these beers with
20% or 10%, whatever the exact number is. Something Johns. You just got to put a bunch of Johns in there.
And hops don't qualify that.
Nope. It's got to be.
No, that's a normal ingredient.
In your fermentable.
Outside the 4.
I have a question. I don't know if you know the answer. So
that's stupid.
What if you wanted to make your grain bill 20% rye? Does that count?
Nope, because it's a malted. It's a malted.
They essentially shut down brew pubs.
Now that was an obvious intentional, I assume that they.
I mean,
and it
has to be right.
They solved the threat that
they saw.
They look in the U.S. like. Craft is a big problem.
Keyring understood that threat.
You're macro. You can see we're going to nip this shit in the butt.
Exactly. And what I think is a hard point for the big Japanese breweries is that when you think of when you think of big beer, they're not domesticated. But like Asahi and Kirin, their only market is really like they're not owned by a bigger company. They're in Japan. So if they start to lose that market, then they're just they're done. Go? What do they do?
We can't go we're stuck here.
They're going to start exporting Asahi Super Dry to here. No, they're like we can't have this. Like we're all going to go. And good job to them.
Is there a movement moving or forming or whatever to change that, or is there some equivalent of the BA?
No, there's not.
They shut it down because.
Okay. So are you boned? Is
no,
it
so the people that had licenses, we make out. Because we were before this new.
Okay, grandfathered in.
And so, I would love to pick up the shield and sword and be like, you guys. But then, what happens if they came down on me or something? And then it's like, well, So it's just this really awkward thing where, like, you want to say something, but you can't say something. But even if I do say something, is this white guy that living in the mountains of Von Mori like, you guys fucked up the beer laws? Like, all right, will you stop yelling so loud? Like,
step on that guy.
Yeah. Like,
First of all, what are you saying?
Yeah, like, we can't understand your Japanese anyway. And so
you're not leaving from Japan.
So it's just they swooped in and, like, before you even knew what was happening, I was reading these laws, and I was like, wow, well done. I was like, well touche. I was like, you did it.
Your craft brewers accounted for 1% of market share. But Kirin actually, you know, they're savvy.
Yeah.
They saw what was going on in America.
No, don't let that become 12%.
Nope. No, sir. Don't let it become 1.5%.
I mean, Kirin, they're not evil. I mean, but they saw what was going on. They opened up their own craft brewery or, like, microbrewery.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows who was lobbying the government? There's 4 big players.
They got the money.
Yeah,
it might not have been them. It might have been the tax department themselves. This is
we can't be happy.
Go out and check these guys.
Look at that freaking California. There's a new one opening every day.
Gosh, if we got to go around and, like, check all these breweries, no, man, let's shut this down.
This is exhausting. I am working here. I can't be. This is not what I signed on for when I got a government job.
Right.
We gotta.
So if you want to open a satellite brewery somewhere, could you do that under your existing license? Or
can't, because I would have to get a new license.
You have to get a new license
for my new facility. So unless I wanted to go up and make a huge production facility, which I have no interest in, that wouldn't be a problem because I could get the shady beer license or whatever. But if I wanted to open up a small brew pub in another city,
start over again.
Nope, I'd have to make it a Belgian brew pub and use 20%, some type of sugars or something that's not falls under their law. I'd have to make all fruited beers.
Go for it with the beer license. In which case, you need
a lot.
What about malt extract?
No,
it's not malted grain.
No, I've tried.
CO2? What about CO2? You pump it with CO2. Dude, the tax office. Some of those guys are sorry.
I'm not the only one to think of this.
No, it's too bad. They're like,
I thought it was a genius, Tasty.
If it worked out like that, it'd be fun. I hope someone can come up with something to continue not happening. What's happening? Yeah, there's
water.
Like
that's part of the bill.
Dry hop with some air.
I think if I open up another brew pub, I'll just make lactose everything. And I think that doesn't count. So maybe I can't. Yeah,
Jesus, dude.
Sugar counts, though, right? You can add sugar.
The way I got my license is I added sugar, but it's not sugar. It's like a sugar that they use in production facilities for making candies or whatever. And so it's like 4 types of sugar. It's like maltose, glucose, sucrose, or something like that. So that was okay because it had over an amount of sugars. But if I just added table sugar to it, that wouldn't count. Don't think about it, Tasty. It's gonna put you under. It's gonna. This is what I did for a year. This is what I just sit there like. So I can put 4 kinds of sugar, but I can't put one? Absolutely. Yeah. Did you listen to what you just said to me? Absolutely. It's a joke. It's a circus.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
it's like you're from another world. Like aliens have landed here. I feel like another universe. I didn't imagine it.
I feel like it's not a real law, but they just told the American that it is, so he'd shut up.
They're like, you're still coming back. All right, actually, you can put that in your beer. Like, what? A year ago, I asked you if I could do that. Like, yeah, we just didn't want you to keep coming back.
Speaking of popular things, did you know that IPAs are the most popular craft beer style in the U.S.? Right. Yeah, guys.
Thank God.
If you're looking to brew an IPA that's not like all the rest, check out Dick Cantwell's newest book, Brewing Eclectic IPA, Pushing the Boundaries of India Pale Ale. Award-winning brewer Cantwell includes 25 original IPA recipes and categorizes over 200 unique ingredients. See? There you go, Gareth. You should
take the book back, translate it, set everyone free.
20% of any of those.
To spice up your IPA, from papaya to peppercorn, beets to bog myrtle, to even cannabis, there are recipes for all levels of brewing experience. Order your copy of Brewing Eclectic IPA today, wherever books are sold, or on brewerspublication.com.
Dude, let's order it.
Yep, there it is.
I was racking my brain about what Kim Sturdivant's social kitchen, what he calls this beer, and it's brewed IPA. He's the only one that, everybody else has to go some other name brewed IPA, but it's his style.
Yeah, so that's his. He owns it good.
Pretty cool.
But he's been, pretty open with.
Oh my God! Yeah,
it's just been the coolest guy.
I would travel to Europe and I was going to do a collaboration beer there, and my friend there, Jan, said, "Hey, let's make one of those, brewed IPAs." I go like, "Okay, sure." I know a guy, so I say, "Hey, Kim, here's my friend." I introduced him, and Kim comes right out with this big sheet of like, "Here's how you do it. Here's the links to the products you need. Here's 2 sources."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was just like right out there helping.
No, yeah. When we showed up today, he was like, "Yep, this, but I've been doing this, and this works better." And it's just like, I just got all his hard work. He just gave it to me, and
He's
like,
still
what?
processing it.
Yeah, it's like, thank you, man. That's good on him, man. He's not holding it away, trying to. He just wants everyone to make good beer. So
that is cool.
So we were,
excuse me, jeez.
And we were talking
very
earlier
gassy.
about awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Brewed IPAs and other kind of new changing things in the beer world. And I was mentioning earlier, I was the World Beer Cup judge.
Yeah.
And that was really interesting because when you volunteer, when you're a World Beer Cup judge, you
have to want to be selected to do it. You volunteer, but you got to be admitted.
You also have to say what categories you want to judge.
Oh, sure.
And everyone wants to do like IPAs and all these things, but I kind of want to see like the weird things that are being done. So there's a specialty beer category, there's a historical beer category. So you got to shoot for those. And it was really interesting being in the historical beer category because there's with everyone charging ahead with IPAs and all these other kinds of things. There's also breweries that are saying, well, let's look in our country and see what was brewed 10, 20, 50, 100 years ago. Yeah. And so that was what the historical beer category was. It was a lot of people kind of looking back through their culture. And by the way, a lot of the entries are from Europe, so you're talking about Europeans. So that was what
went
was
back into their history. That had their beers
we had a
judged.
colonial beer. Colonial meaning southeast of America. Jamestown, some stuff like. Well, what were people when the pilgrims and whatnot were coming? What were they brewing with? And you drink these things like that's just fascinating. It's like Gruit. Everyone knows about Gruit. This is the beer that doesn't use hops. It uses pre-hops ingredients. But what people don't think about is that beer was being produced, in cultures all over the world. What we consider beer by the brewing method, and now all these countries are coming forward with these beers that were brewed historically before modern times. And it was fascinating drinking like a Finnish farmhouse ale. It was just wild.
That's a trip.
And I don't even know if it was good or not. And you get to that round and all the judges were like...
You can't go to the bottle shop, pick up a bottle, and you can compare it, But how are you going to know? There's no... Probably not even a written description.
Yeah,
but
it came down to taste, and there were some judges like, "This is the greatest expression of the Lithuanian porter style, blah blah blah." And it's like, I know, but
you don't even
unless you've been there and tasted them all.
And
it
was
if it tastes like something that's made today, it's probably not authentic.
How do you judge something like that? And this was the whole thing. We were sitting around the table, and even the Brewers Association, they had to call in the commandos, they're having a controversy at this table. People are disagreeing.
It's exciting.
But we were all kind of like, how do you judge these beers against each other? And it came down to taste. There was some beer that there were 2 brewers at the table. This is the best beer. It's a great expression of this historical style. And I and another brewer were like, it tastes like Band-Aids dipped in formaldehyde. It's
really
gross.
That much a difference? So what do they like about it?
Well, I don't know, but they understood that historical style, and they said this is a perfect expression of that style.
So they knew the style.
It could be somebody saying this is a perfect expression of brewed IPA, but there could be somebody in Finland. This is disgusting. It tastes like my father's socks.
Right.
So it's a weird thing about
that's a challenge, man. That's a challenge. Well, I mean, I think we're going to just get more competitive at the judging table, maybe, as beer kind of expands. I think beer sometimes gets tired of itself. And then that's when it kind of folds over and looks for something else to resurrect, right?
And then it can't be quality judging. The World Cup's great. correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't 3/4 of the judges from outside the U.S.?
Yes. It's mostly from outside the U.S. So that's what's fascinating too about your judging table. You've got people from all over the world judging and different palates, and it's the beer knowledge is incredible at a table, and you drink these beers and you hear this knowledge, and that to me, like, that's what I love about the World Beer Cup, is that this is beer culture. This is how it should be. Like, people going out of different backgrounds, drinking and talking about these beers, and
absolutely,
it's just absolutely fascinating.
Yeah,
beer.
No, it sounds like a trip. It sounds like better than judging homebrew for sure.
No, it definitely is.
That segment was brought to you by craftbeer.com, whose mission is to tell the stories behind America's small and independent breweries and the cities and businesses that support them. It's a community full of passion, authenticity, creativity, and camaraderie. Explore the world of American craft beer at craftbeer.com. All right, you want to do just a couple things that are happening in the news, Tasty?
You guys up for it? I mean,
yeah.
What's happening in the news?
Just a
if I said
couple.
no, I mean,
aluminum tariffs.
Roll the theme. We're out of here.
Things like that. What's
A couple,
going on?
2, 3 things.
Let's do it.
Of course, beersmith.com. You get your 21-day free trial at beersmith.com. It's the best software in the world for really anything, but probably more for brewing than anything else. But check it out, beersmith.com. 21 days, blah, blah, blah. Continue to accept all. So this is big news, at least for me. I don't know why. Beavertown. Remember Beavertown Brewing, the Logan plant?
Yeah, Logan.
Over in the UK. Nice dude.
Good
super
guy.
nice guy.
Yep.
Great interview. Bev loves him. Bev is very much in love with Logan. They let's see. Where's the stupid thing? They sold a stake in their business for £40 million, which is $52.44 million, to Heineken. The money will be used to build a new brewery and a visitor site called Beaver World. Which is mainly why I wanted to read the story, so I could say Beaver World and be like a
that's
legitimate
Robert
business.
Plant's son.
That's Robert Plant's son. That's right.
I was thinking, like, well, that's a lot of money. And they said, brewery, blah, blah, blah. And then he said Beavertown. I go like,
Beaver World.
It's like freaking Disneyland.
Must we explain Robert Plant?
It's like an amusement park or something.
Robert Plant,
Robert Plant. The brewery plans to follow in the steps of London's Brixton Brewery and Brewdog in selling out its independence to meet the demands of a larger market. I know Brewdog was like winning some venture capitalists or something like that, but I don't think they're. I don't know.
They panhandle for money or something?
Don't they do crowdfunding?
They panhandle.
But I think it's like 8 or 10% of their owner. I don't think it's really. I don't know. I think it's more just for advertising. But I don't know. Brewdog and Stone are like even for breweries built on marketing. In my mind, that don't really have any substance. Mr. Plant confirms that Beavertown will build a new 450,000 hectoliter facility in London that will increase its brewing capacity tenfold and create up to 150 new jobs. Robert, whatever. They said, this is Heineken. We love what they're doing, and they're excited to be able to help them more. Not everyone in the beer community, of course, is as happy. There's a lot of people upset because social media, that's what happens. But there's a few pubs who are not selling Beavertown beer anymore.
It's pretty good beer, though. So.
It's good beer, and that's kind of the disappointing part, and that's why people are upset about it. They're not saying how much stake Heineken actually bought, which I think makes it
40%.
I think makes it worse. No.
It says that Logan and his wife are still the majority owner.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Right. But, the craft beer, we're going by the craft beer, the 25%, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know.
I get you. Yeah.
I mean, is this going to be also like what happened with Lagunitas, where they buy a little bit of it and then they come by a couple years later and pick up the rest?
Lagunitas still tastes like Lagunitas, though, man. I know.
Yeah, well, but where do you fall with that? And that's the other number one. I wanted to say Beaverland or Beaver World several times on the radio, but also this is becoming kind of the norm. And where do we fall on this as like craft beer people? Do you care or do you not care? Most people aren't going to care, but do we care? I don't know.
I've been in conversations like this a lot of times, and it always, in my mind, it always ends up like, well, what's he supposed to do to expand? And he's supposed to like. Call up the bank and say, I want to get,
40 million
euro to expand and make a beaver world.
But Maybe you change the name.
They go like, fuck you. So he can call Heineken and they go like, yeah, we're into this beer shit. Let's do it.
We're into this
what's the guy going to do?
I'm going back to Japan and I'm going straight to the bank and I'm going to make a BZ World. Can you lend me? And they're just going to be like, just to see, just to test the waters to see if I can get away with it.
Just some drawing.
Yeah. So this is where the roller coaster and the log slide and this is where the guy and these are the mascots. So can you let me some money?
Use those steam baths.
But I guess I just don't buy that he needed money for an expansion. I mean, it's 40 million pounds, 50 million bucks. But like, you got that Led Zeppelin money. Your dad's got some money. You have people that will invest their money into your brewery. So why do you don't need to sell to Heineken for that shit? Don't give me that. I think that you're kind of full of it if you're saying that that's the reason. Not you, but like Logan, right?
No.
It doesn't. That doesn't make sense.
If you don't grow, you die, right? But that's a lot of growth. A lot of the other European brewers are saying, "Why do you need to get so big?" I mean, most of them are like, "We're having a great time, We're making a living here. Why do you need to be so big?"
His dad's Robert Plant, one of the richest musicians in the world, and he's a brewer, and he's in the brewery. From what I hear, brewing. I mean, good for him. He's been doing the heavy lifting.
No, really.
Maybe I think people get either addicted or they get tunnel vision as to, like, I did this, I should do this next. I did this, I should do this next.
Yeah, maybe I'm just not a person of lofty enough goals.
Oh, no, but like for me, like, I did it. For my eyes, I've done what I needed to do, like, and I'm enjoying doing it, but like I can understand when someone's like, oh, well, we did this, so now we checked all the boxes here. We need to add more check boxes, and maybe they just.
I get that, but I guess what I don't understand is why do you need to go and sell a portion of your business to the thing that your business is built to fight against? That's what I just never really understood.
Maybe
it's the only option when you get to a certain point. I don't know. Like I mean, like
there aren't
I
that
have
many
no
options.
idea.
You can get like investment people to want a piece of your company.
Yeah,
That's about how do you get the money?
I don't know. You ask
in Vegas.
Yeah, you ask all your dad's friends. I don't know. You rob your dad. I don't know. I mean, also, how much money? You're making a lot of money. You're fine. Do you need to build Beaver World? No.
Well,
Bev says yes.
Like Gareth was saying, like you have goals, and you want to be the biggest guy in European beer. So
yeah, but
let's do it.
But I think the trade-off is not worth it. I don't know.
Beaver World.
Yeah.
And it's all up to.
I don't think the trade-off's worth it.
It says goals. We're translating our slacker attitude.
Look, he's still a handsome.
Why would you want to be that? That's their whole life.
Gareth World would sound pretty good. And just statues of me, and you just walk through it. And what the hell do I buy a ticket for here? Like
hit northern Japan. You can own that.
Here's Gareth World. I got a ticket. What is that? You get to go to the farm.
Yeah,
go to the farm and pick some shit.
But you don't get to watch. You got to help us out. It's exhausting doing this with 4 people. So.
For sure. You know what else is going to be exhausting? If you go to the 9th annual Tasties right in your backyard Clayton Barbecue Cook-Off.
I'm going to go to that. I think I send a.
Saturday, July 14th, downtown Clayton, which is just up the road here, from 11 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. It's just pretty cool. I've been a couple times, and it's rad. They have 48 teams competing in a Kansas City Barbecue Society sanctioned Master Series 4-meat competition. That's a mouthful, just like what you can get there. 4 meat comps.
That's probably
tasty.
Like brisket, ribs, chicken, and
that sounds
pork.
Horrible.
Absolutely right.
If you're a vegan,
really?
Yeah, but every other person probably wants to go there.
Ribs, chicken, pork, and brisket. Judging by KCBS certified barbecue judges, competitive backyard, and KCBS pro teams that will compete for $7,000 in prize money and trophies to the top 2 winners in each division. Additionally, there's a People's Choice tasting where you can go around and you can eat. I think it's. I want to say for free, but you can go around and you can eat ribs.
Yeah.
And then you vote for your favorite ribs. Winners receive medals, of course. People's Choice tasting is from 1 p.m. until everybody runs out. Local breweries, of course, from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m., including Epidemic Ales, Cali Craft, EJ Fair, here, our neighbors right there, Shadow Puppet, Working Man, Morgan Territory, St. Stan's, and North Canyon Cider, plus wine also for you non-beer drinkers. They have live music from 11 a.m. until 8:30. Some rock and roll, some blues, it looks like, as well. And, no joke, Bev, this is maybe for you more than anybody else, come and see the world's largest potato as the Idaho Potato Commission's Big Tater will make a rare West Coast appearance. It's fun for the whole family. Free admission. Go to ClaytonCBCA.org. The Clayton Annual Barbecue Cook-Off. It's a cool thing, man, and it's local.
I'm going.
And,
I want to see that tater.
I want the world's largest potato.
That big John's waiting for everybody.
Yo, give me them Johns. I'm going to load my Johns
look
up.
right in the eye.
Yeah, it's a cool event. Definitely check it out.
It's my backyard.
Especially like barbecue, man.
Too close to Uber.
Let me sign off on that. Let's do another. This is a good one. It's more centered around Florida, but I think it kind of translates to the whole, reason why craft and independent actually matters. The Florida Brewers Guild, which, if you probably didn't guess, is a nonprofit association aimed at preserving the rights of Florida brewers, is not happy with the fact that several Floridian breweries are having their merchandise replaced with bigger name beers and national, quote, crafts. I'm going to put the air quotes around it because these people didn't do it. This comes in a wake of an ongoing lawsuit against Anheuser-Busch in North Carolina over a deal the company made with a distributor to favor their products over other companies. Some brands have been completely cut by Publix, a company called Gainesville's Swamphead and Braden's Motorworks. Other Florida favorites, such as St. Petersburg's $3, haven't gotten the boot yet, but have had their stock reduced from 2 beer options to only 1. And I thought that was interesting because we talk about it all the time. Why does it matter? Who cares? But this is exactly why. If you let too many people gain control of the market, then everybody else who wants a piece of it is going to be out. Shady backroom dealing.
Who's making the decision as to who's in and who's out?
It sounds like the distributor.
The distributor.
That's what it sounds like. It's just a very general article. It didn't get too. It's not investigative journalism by any means, but this is what the Florida Brewers Guild is reporting, that their members are having their options reduced or replaced entirely.
I assume we're talking about not over taps, but in store shelves.
Yeah. This specifically has to do with Publix, which is like Safeway.
Yeah. Shelf stuff. Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting, and I think that's happening more often than we think.
No, you don't even know it. You can go. Think of all the craft beer we see in cans everywhere around here. Just go to your local grocery store. You don't see even a fraction of that. These are all like macro, bigger.
Oh yeah, though they're decisions that even
brands we know and love, like Lagunitas and Sierra Nevada, and our shelves are full of it. But we don't see our other beers that we like to.
Transparency, yeah. As long as
transparency,
as
baby.
Long as, right? If you want to do it, if you want to sell out, or if you want to, but as long as the people that matters to, they know the difference between A and B, then I think that. But when you try to, use the back door and confuse people, and then it's kind of unfair. I'm supporting my local brewery, but it's actually not.
It's not your local brewery, man.
Yeah, and so that's kind of unfair, man.
That's why I hear we often drink Drake's. And you go to drinkdrakes.com and learn about Drake's. But if you're in the Bay Area, you know about Drake's. And when you visit the Bay Area, guess what you should do? Drink Drake's. Okay, I have one more read to do, and then we're out of here. And it's everybody's favorite read. So if you have kids, be sure to turn this up, put headphones on them, and turn it up to 11 so they can hear every salacious word. Have you been looking to spice things up in the bedroom, Beverly? Go to adamandeve.com and for a limited time. Actually, how do I get the spice out? It's too spicy.
I like vanilla. My favorite flavor.
Alone. Away from everything.
Absolutely alone.
That's warm bath and some candles.
Oh, God. Poor Sam.
Go to adamandeve.com. Hey, Beverly, no vanilla. Shit. Go to adamandeve.com, and for a limited time, you'll get 50% off just about any item. When you select that item, you'll get 3 free adult DVDs, plus an extra gift, which I believe is still the Big O kit. You get 50% off when you type in the code BNARMY. That's BNARMY. Go to adamandeve.com and, bring some joy to people.
Check it out.
Buy some Johns.
Buy some Johns. You need Johns. Everybody needs them. Okay, that's it. We're done. We did it, Tasty.
Cool. Thank you.
End of show.
Yes, end of show. And now we're going to go eat, I think, right, Beverly? Bought food for everybody.
I already ordered it. I got to go get it.
You got some Johns.
Get them Johns. Get them Johns. Gareth Burns, thank you very much for coming in. Be Easy Brewing Japan. And what's your website?
BeEasyBrewing.com. Yeah, we're Instagram at BEZ Brewing and Twitter at BEZ Brewing. I don't really use it, and we do a lot on Instagram, Facebook, and stuff. But it's BEZ Brewing in Japan, and
hell yeah, dude.
We're out there getting it in, and come on out if you ever want to see some cherry blossoms or join in a Japanese festival.
Wait, I thought it was snow all the time.
Nah, it melts. There's a good window of opportunity.
And
where
here comes those cherry blossoms.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
They come out, and then you got a lot of summer festivals, then you go dormant again. But
what's that flight time? When is that?
It was actually, I'm used to going back to home, which is way worse. But this was from here. It was 8.5 hours. So
that's not
that bad.
That's not bad, dude.
Not bad.
Everyone goes to Japan and I'm going to go to Tokyo. I'm going to go to Kyoto.
3 more hours.
People should go north.
Off of Hawaii.
I'm down. I've been to Japan.
I want to go too.
Come on over. We got you covered. We got you covered.
You go to Tokyo. What do you see? You see crowds and
neon.
Yeah,
I can get that here.
And you go north, and
I can give you a time warp back to Japan. Yeah.
Unadulterated nature.
That's what I want, man. So looking through your Sake Today magazines and and the Japan Beer Times as well, you have some beautiful photographs in here, and just a lot of landscape stuff, and everyone looks really nice.
We take the pictures before we start drinking.
These guys look like really nice dudes, right? They look like nice. They look like nice people. I want to go and do whatever they're doing.
It's salt of the earth people pretty much run the brewing industry in Japan, and sake and craft beer. It's hard to think of somebody who's like, I don't want to drink with them. I mean, it's just salt of the earth people that run the brewing industry over there in sake and craft beer. So people come and they go to, I want to go to Tokyo. I want to go to Kyoto. Get off the beaten track. Go out to these breweries. Gareth's deep north. There's other places out in the country. You'll never regret making that decision.
That sounds good. Chika, Masahiro, thank you very much. Thank you for coming in. And Ry, of course, thank you very much. So I found that song, dude. Check this out.
I think I'm turning Japanese. Is that the one?
No, this is so my friend got me into this weird. Oh, it's not going to download. You motherfucker.
Well, that was aggressive.
It's not going to download for me.
That did not go the way he wanted.
Well, actually, speaking of aggressive, I have a question.
An aggressive question?
Well, I think it might be an aggressive answer. So the emails that came through when we were planning this, there was a lot of talk about Chip Kelly.
I don't
know what that is.
Chip Kelly.
That fucking dude. I hate that dude.
What's a Chip Kelly?
Chip Kelly coached for the Eagles and stared at himself in the mirror while he touched himself and thought he was great.
He's UCLA now, right?
He should be put in a box and sent away, man.
Your Irish seems to be quite up here.
What's that?
This is like a
Niagara
Falls.
I just say he comes to Philadelphia. He's like, I've got a plan. I love staring at myself in the mirror. And then he ruins the fucking football team. And then he leaves. And then we win a Super Bowl. I hate you, Chip Kelly. Sorry.
And you won.
I've never met you. But yeah, we did. With Nick Foles. Right. Nick, he came through. And I hope Chip Kelly was
Big Dick Nick. There you go,
Nick
dude.
got it done while Chip Kelly was crying, looking at himself in the mirror I thought I was the one. You weren't. You weren't, Chip. You weren't the one, bud.
I had a feeling this was going to be funny. I was right.
He had a better image of Chip Kelly that he hasn't articulated yet.
I don't know how
he's talking about looking in the mirror.
You can do whatever you want. We're going to leave here in a second, so we're pretty much done.
Zero exaggeration and joke. I really believe Chip Kelly would get done football games when they got lost, and he would jerk himself off while he's looking in the mirror it was my plan, but they didn't follow it, and these guys, and that's my image of what he does in real life. And I'm like, you suck. Stop doing that. You don't jerk off in the mirror while you look at yourself. Go coach get out of the NFL, get out of Philadelphia, and let us go back to building a good team. And that's my full thoughts. I could run him. He could be the nicest guy I ever met, but I just am not a big fan, football-wise, as far as Chip Kelly goes. So
get that not big fan thing.
Yeah,
but he has such a complex name.
Get the fuck out of here.
All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in to the show. And, of course, thank you to Gareth and everybody else for coming in, talking some beer, some Japanese beer, and some sake, of course. And until next time, y'all, we'll see you at NHC, hopefully.
I'll see you.
All right. We'll see you there.
Gay guys do